Chapter 949. The God-Eater Brain was deducing Tao intent. While Yi Chunfeng was burning his heavenly venerate blood and attacking the sun, extinguishing heavenly punishment, the God-Eater Brain in his soul, was rapidly deducing and comprehending the profound Tao intent released by the sun, extinguishing heavenly punishment. Could it be that this fellow couldn't be killed? The tall and sturdy butcher, who was wearing black armor and emitting an intense oppressive aura, shook his head and sighed as he watched Yi Chunfeng challenge the heavenly punishment. He was completely convinced. Although Pajun didn't say anything, there wasn't a trace of battle intent in his eyes. At this moment, he was completely convinced by Yi Chunfeng and was filled with admiration. As for Dao Kuei, who was in the crowd, a look of regret appeared on his face. He finally understood what Yi Chunfeng had said back then. He truly regretted it. With only the sun extinguishing heavenly punishment left, the pressure on Yi Chunfeng was greatly reduced. However, he intended to use the sun extinguishing heavenly punishment to temper himself and absorb the heavenly venerate blood to break through the bottleneck. After an entire day, Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of the five elements Tao intent had risen to the 8th heavenly layer, greatly increasing his Tao intent attacks. After another half a day, Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of the life and death Tao intent had risen to the 9th heavenly layer. He was only one more layer away from condensing the life and death Tao diagram. Lian Xing, we can't wait any longer. Let's kill him now. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of the Tao intent rising and the heavenly punishment nearing its end, Sha Tianya finally couldn't wait any longer and decided to take the risk to kill him. Okay. Lian Xing nodded and stepped on the myriad ice plate. She charged towards Yi Chunfeng with Sha Tianya, taking the risk to enter the area where he was undergoing his tribulation to kill him with all their strength. What were the old city lord and the others doing? Of course, it was to kill He Yin. If He Yin was allowed to survive such a terrifying heavenly punishment and continue to grow, wouldn't Xingluo Heaven City change? Wasn't this too despicable? What was despicable and despicable? Since ancient times, the winner takes all and the loser takes all. If Xingluo Heavenly City was in the hands of the Sha clan, who would dare to say anything bad about it? Seeing Sha Tianya and Lian Xing take the risk to charge into Yi Chunfeng's tribulation zone, the surrounding crowd burst into an uproar. Many people revealed looks of disdain, but even more people rejoiced in their misfortune. Myriad Ice Plate, Myriad Ice Heaven. After entering Yi Chunfeng's tribulation zone, Sha Bingyun didn't wait for Yi Chunfeng's annihilating heavenly punishment to split into multiple attacks. She immediately controlled the myriad ice plate under her feet to create dense icicles that shot towards Yi Chunfeng. Gu Fanqing Sha Tianya also made his move at the same time, controlling the Gu Dao treasure Gu Fanqing to become bigger and bigger. Like a meteorite with ancient vein patterns on its surface, it crashed forward with a force of over 100 million Jin. Suzaku ding two extremes of life and death at this critical moment. Yi Chunfeng used his left hand to throw the Suzaku ding at Gu Fanqing. At the same time, the Tao of life and death in his right hand transformed into the Tao of life and death to attack the myriad ice tide. While defending against the annihilating heavenly punishment, he also defended against Sha Tianya and Lian Xing's fatal attacks. Beast soul form Yi Chunfeng forcibly neutralized the attacks of the two Tao treasures. Sha Tianya and Lian Xing both ignited the power of their bloodlines and transformed into their beast soul forms. They condensed 8 killing halos and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng. However, at this time, the annihilating heavenly punishment's power had increased exponentially. It split off nearly 80% of its power and attacked Sha Tianya and Lian Xing. After experiencing it personally, Sha Tianya finally understood how terrifying the annihilating heavenly punishment was. He didn't dare to imagine how Yi Chunfeng could withstand such a terrifying heavenly punishment until now. He also didn't dare to imagine how Yi Chunfeng could shatter the annihilating heavenly punishment. Lian Xing, let's work together to deduce the Gu Fanqing art and kill him. Relying on their powerful strength to withstand the annihilating heavenly punishment's attack, Sha Tianya and Lian Xing merged their Tao intents together and unleashed their strongest inheritance. When the two of them deduced their Tao intents to the limit, they condensed numerous stars covered in ancient Tao runes and attacked Yi Qinfeng like a meteor shower. Green Heaven Secret Art, Heavenly Tao Diagram. Yi Qinfeng was multitasking as he rapidly circulated the Green Heaven Secret Art that he had just comprehended. He mobilized his Heavenly Venerate bloodline and Heavenly Tao energy to condense a rapidly revolving Tao diagram to block the Gu Fanqing art. Although the Heavenly Tao diagram formed by the Green Heaven Secret Art was fundamentally different from a real Tao diagram, the Green Heaven Secret Art was still a low-grade Saint art. Coupled with the Heavenly Tao's amplification, Yi Qinfeng was still able to block the Gu Fanqing art for a short period of time. Gu Fanqing, Myriad Ice Plate, Ambush. The Gu Fanqing art was also blocked by Yi Qinfeng, Sha Tianya, and Lian Xing, who were continuously attacked by the annihilating heavenly punishment, used their Tao treasures to attack Yi Qinfeng with all their might. They were constantly drawing away Yi Qinfeng's energy, trying their best to kill him. Although Sha Tianya and Lian Xing were outside of the Xingluo Heavenly City and could not borrow the power of the Xingluo Heavenly City, they were still level 6 combat beast emperors. They possessed many terrifying means and were extremely frightening. Under their all-out attacks, Yi Qinfeng was under great pressure. His injuries kept worsening. If it wasn't for the Heavenly Venerate bloodline supporting him, Yi Qinfeng wouldn't have been able to hold on for much longer. Crack! Just as Yi Qinfeng's pressure was increasing and he was in danger, a crisp cracking sound rang out in his mind. Under the heavy pressure, the soul fragment formed by the God-Eater brain's 5th evolution shattered. A set of profound divine ability sword array appeared in Yi Qinfeng's soul sea. Cosmos sword array, sacred divine ability. The God-Eater brain quickly deduced the incantation for the sword array. Yi Qinfeng was immediately overjoyed. Although the Cosmos sword array was a sacred divine ability and wasn't hard to learn, it had a high requirement on the soul. The stronger the soul, the more powerful the Cosmos sword array would be. Yi Qinfeng's soul had been tempered countless times and was incomparably powerful. He could directly control the Cosmos sword array to attack. Sha Tianya, Lian Xing, looks like even the heavens aren't willing to help you. With the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Qinfeng quickly grasped the method to condense the Cosmos sword array. He immediately summoned the 4 low-grade Tao swords, 3 pseudo-Tao swords, 6 supreme-grade celestial swords, and 5 high-grade celestial swords. He barely met the minimum requirement for the Cosmos sword array and condensed the Cosmos sword array. Kill! After the Cosmos sword array was condensed, Yi Qinfeng's mind moved. The Cosmos sword array started to revolve rapidly. 18 celestial swords shot out at the same time, shattering the Gu Fanqing beads that were attacking him. They then charged toward Sha Tianya and Lian Xing, whose expressions changed greatly. Gu Fanqing art, stars filling the sky. Sha Tianya didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to have such a technique. Without hesitation, he ignited his blood and qi energy and raised the power of the Gu Fanqing art to the limit. He rapidly condensed stars that were filled with ancient patterns to defend against the Cosmos sword array. Although Yi Qinfeng's foundation was limited and could only form the lowest level Cosmos sword array, the Cosmos sword array was still a saint-grade divine ability. Its power was extremely terrifying. Very soon, the Gu Fanqing art that Sha Tianya and Lian Xing had deduced was broken by the Cosmos sword array. Cosmos sword array, annihilation. After breaking Sha Tianya and Lian Xing's strongest attack, Yi Qinfeng multitasked. He immediately controlled the Cosmos sword array to kill them, forcing them to continuously dodge. In the end, under everyone's gazes, they miserably retreated. Sun extinguishing heavenly punishment destroy. Controlling the Cosmos sword array to repel the enemy, Yi Qinfeng raised his Tao intent and soul to the limit. He controlled the Cosmos sword array to attack the cracked sun, extinguishing heavenly punishment. Finally, The sun-extinguishing heavenly punishment couldn't withstand the dual attacks of the Cosmos Sword Array and the Sword Dao diagram and broke apart. Rank 4 Combat Beast Emperor Breakthrough. After breaking through the second round of the sun-extinguishing heavenly punishment, Yi Qinfeng's body was like a black hole, absorbing the Dao intent that filled the air into his body. At this moment, his heavenly venerable blood also completely fused with Yi Qinfeng, reaching the 3rd grade. After accumulating enough foundation, Yi Qinfeng broke through the bottleneck in one go and broke through to the rank 4 Combat Beast Emperor realm. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 950. Sha Tianya. Didn't you want to kill me? I will give you the chance now. Yi Qinfeng had accumulated an unimaginable amount of energy when he broke through. Therefore, he didn't need to consolidate his cultivation to break through the weakened state. He raised the Emperor's sky, sword high up, and pointed it at Sha Tianya, who had an ugly expression on his face. At this moment, his aura rose to the extreme. Large amounts of sword Dao patterns revolve around his body. He was like the reincarnation of the sword god. His terrifying aura was enough to make one's liver tremble. Heiyin Sha Tianya was completely infuriated by Yi Qinfeng's challenge in front of everyone. However, Sha Tianya and Lian Xing were both injured when they tried to stop Yi Qinfeng from transcending the tribulation under the sun, extinguishing heavenly punishment. Furthermore, the scene of Yi Qinfeng transcending the tribulation was so shocking that it made Sha Tianya want to retreat. Why? You don't dare? Looking at Sha Tianya, who had an uncertain expression, Yi Qinfeng's lips curled upwards as he spoke in an unruly manner. Heiyin, when I recover from my injuries, it will be the day of your death. Sha Tianya took a deep breath and suppressed the killing intent in his heart. He found a way out for himself and was about to return to Xingluo Heaven City. There's no need to wait so long. I think today is a good day. As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng executed his sword steps and turned into an extremely fast sword shadow. Along with the 18 Qiankuan swords, he attacked Sha Tianya at an astonishing speed. 6 styles of wind and thunder Yi Qinfeng attacked with the Qiankuan sword array. The infuriated Sha Tianya immediately deduced the wind and thunder Dao intent to the extreme. In an instant, he executed 6 consecutive moves. The surging wind and thunder Dao intent was like a huge wave that was bigger than the previous one. It surged through the void and blasted towards Yi Qinfeng. Qiankuan sword array, Qiankuan sword / Yi Qinfeng's mind exploded with his soul spirit. He controlled the 18 Qiankuan swords to gather together. He stirred up the power of heaven and earth and slashed against the surging 6 styles of wind and thunder. Boom, 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 boom. The Qiankuan swords tore through the 6 styles of wind and thunder, bringing fatal pressure on Sha Tianya. The Dao inside of the stars transformed into stars. Seeing that the 6 styles of tempest had been broken, Sha Tianya rapidly deduced the Dao intent of the stars. It transformed into dazzling stars that descended from the sky and ferociously attacked the cosmos sword formation. 2 extremes of life and death while Sha Tianya was relying on his absolute strength to resist the cosmos sword formation. 90 life and death Dao patterns shot out from Yi Qinfeng's body and transformed into a doomsday-like life and death Dao disc. It blasted into the intense counterattack, shattering Dao intense stars one after another as it continued to exert pressure on Sha Tianya. The force created by the collision between the two of them was too terrifying. It was like a gale that swept away the clouds. Yet it was also like a great wave that washed away the sand, and it shook the entire space to the point of becoming blurry and warped. Boundless heavenly sword Yi Qinfeng and Sha Tianya had been fiercely attacking each other for more than 10 breaths of time. Yi Qinfeng was multitasking. He controlled the sword soul with his intent and slashed out with the boundless heavenly sword. It was like a rampaging dragon, tearing apart Sha Tianya's attack and directly attacking his body. Yi Qinfeng's forceful attack had caused Sha Tianya's expression to change slightly. He quickly clapped his palms and executed heavenly palms, continuously shaking the boundless heavenly sword that was unleashed by the sword soul. In the end, Sha Tianya relied on his powerful strength to resist Yi Qinfeng's killing move. However, his entire body was pushed back a few hundred meters by the boundless heavenly sword. Blood flowed out from his palms. Strong, too strong. In a direct confrontation, the Old City Lord was actually injured. After breaking through to the Grade 4 combat Beast Emperor realm, He Yan's strength had actually increased to such an extent. This time, the Sha clan was in trouble. After offending He Yan, their foundation might be shaken. That's right. If He Yan was given a certain amount of time and space to grow, who would be his match? After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's direct confrontation with Sha Tianya and the scene of Sha Tianya being forced back, everyone present was shocked by Yi Qinfeng's strength. There were even some people who were completely convinced by his strength and started to worship him. Xingluo's doppelganger. A vicious glint flashed across Sha Bingyun's eyes as she summoned her Dao treasure, Xingluo's clone. With a powerful star Dao will, she attacked Yi Qinfeng. Xiao as Xingluo's doppelganger closed in on him. Yi Qinfeng's soul power erupted from his mind. The Qiankuan sword diagram unleashed boundless soul power as he controlled the Qiankuan sword to meet the doppelganger head-on. Wave after wave of Qiankuan swords produced ear-piercing sounds as they attacked Xingluo's doppelganger. The terrifying sword might continuously forced Xingluo's doppelganger back, damaging its incomparably tough body. After a round of fierce attacks, Xingluo's doppelganger was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's Qiankuan sword diagram. Bingyan dodge. After controlling the Qiankuan sword diagram to send Xingluo's doppelganger flying, Yi Qinfeng immediately charged towards Sha Bingyun in an attempt to kill her. At this moment, Lian Xing appeared with a myriad ice plate beneath her feet. She blocked Sha Bingyun's path and launched a fierce attack at Yi Qinfeng. Qiankuan sword diagram. Dance in all directions. Like an ice dragon, thousands of icicles attacked. The Qiankuan sword diagram hovering above Yi Qinfeng's head immediately began to dance. It swept towards the thousands of icicles like a spinning top, frantically shattering them as it swept towards Lian Xing. Gu Fanqing, seeing that Lian Xing was engulfed by the Qiankuan sword diagram, Sha Tianya controlled the dazzling Gu Fanqing to smash down. It smashed into the rapidly spinning Qiankuan sword diagram and blocked the fatal attack of the Qiankuan sword diagram. However, in the next moment, an afterimage appeared in front of Sha Tianya. Yi Qinfeng, with his cloud-stepping boots, appeared in front of him like a bolt of lightning. The terrifying soul energy turned into a dizzying force that smashed into Sha Tianya's soul like a heavy hammer, causing a trace of dizziness in his soul. Following which, Yi Qinfeng executed the twin extreme Dao of life and death. A terrifying life and death Dao plate appeared at his right hand and imprinted an astonishing attack on Sha Tianya's chest, sending him flying. A large amount of blood spurted out from Sha Tianya's mouth. After Sha Tianya was injured by the twin extreme Dao of life and death, Yi Qinfeng chased after him with his cloud-stepping boots. His sword soul fused into the Emperor Sky's sword and continuously attacked Sha Tianya, suppressing his attacks. He wanted to take this opportunity to kill Sha Tianya. He Yan, there will be a day where I will kill you. As his injuries worsened, Sha Tianya had the intention to retreat. He left behind a ruthless sentence and immediately retreated towards Xingluo Sky City. With Sha Tianya's retreat, Lian Xing, Sha Bingyun, and the others didn't dare to stay any longer. They quickly escaped back to Xingluo Sky City. As long as they returned to Xingluo Sky City, Yi Qinfeng wouldn't be able to do anything to them no matter how powerful he was. Sha Tianya, I said that we don't have to wait so long. Let's fight to the death today. Yi Qinfeng burned his bloodline power and rapidly deduced his Dao intent. He raised his attack power to the limit and attacked Sha Tianya with all his strength, worsening Sha Tianya's injuries. As he attacked, and retreated. Sha Tianya retreated to the edge of Xingluo Sky City. At this moment, the imposing Yi Chunfeng executed his true dragon transformation and transformed into a true dragon that bared its fangs and brandished its claws. He carried the power to destroy everything and launched a fatal attack toward Sha Tianya. Roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar resounded. Yi Chunfeng's true dragon shattered Sha Tianya's continuous attacks and bombarded his body, sending him flying. More than half of his body became a bloody mess, and large amounts of blood splattered in the air. Defeated, the old city lord was defeated by He Yan. The spectators who were hiding in the distance were all stunned when they saw Yi Chunfeng defeating Sha Tianya. Yi Chunfeng's invincible figure was deeply imprinted in their souls and couldn't be erased. Sha Tianya, I'll let you live for a few more days. The next time I come to Xingluo Sky City, I'll definitely take your dog head. Looking at Sha Tianya and his family fleeing back to Xingluo Sky City, Yi Chunfeng didn't pursue them. He domineeringly left behind a sentence and left under the respectful gazes of everyone. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 951. Early in the morning, the stars were still shining brightly. A faint blue light pierced through the boundless sea of clouds, illuminating the earth. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test under the first rays of the morning sun. Yi Chunfeng rode his Class 8 heavenly horse to the chaotic clouds peak. He waited there for Xiao Wendi, Kong Sungchun, and the rest to open the Xingluo imperial tombs. As the chaotic clouds peak was located in a remote area, Xiao Wendi, Kong Sungchun, and the rest would need some time to arrive. During this time, Yi Chunfeng comprehended a large number of Dao patterns in his yin-yang meridian and cultivated his heaven and earth Dao intent and illusion Dao intent to the ninth heavenly layer. As his Dao intent increased, Yi Chunfeng entered the universe realm and found Qinggu Qiu. He continued to fight with him, tempering himself through the intense battles. About 2 days later, a familiar aura appeared outside the chaotic clouds peak. Sensing this familiar aura, Yi Chunfeng, who had just fought with Qinggu Qiu and was recuperating, smiled faintly. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng left the universe realm and went outside. He saw Xiao Wendi riding her divine black ant. She was wearing a fiery red dress, and her beautiful body was accentuated by the red dress. Her skin was crystal clear, and her hair was like a waterfall shining brightly under the sunlight. She had a unique temperament, and her beauty was unparalleled. Xiao Wendi, you came very quickly. Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly, looking at Xiao Wendi's unbelievably beautiful face, and said softly, Yi Chunfeng, you broke through again. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng had broken through to a Class 4 combat beast emperor, Xiao Wendi's watery eyes widened as she said in surprise. Yes, a few days ago, I just passed the sun extinguishing heavenly punishment and broke through to a Class 4 combat beast emperor. Not knowing why, in front of Xiao Wendi, Yi Chunfeng felt inexplicably relaxed, and even his tone was relaxed. Really, you are so powerful. I admire you so much. Xiao Wendi clasped her hands together, her beautiful eyes sparkling as she said with a look of worship, You believe in me so much? Seeing Xiao Wendi's exaggerated expression, Yi Chunfeng was startled and asked in surprise, Since you have a nerve to lie, how can I have a nerve to not believe you? Xiao Wendi curled her lips and said, Yi Chunfeng, let's go and open the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Seeing Yi Chunfeng deflated, Xiao Wendi revealed a flower-like smile and softly urged, Now is not the time. There are still a few people who are not here yet. When they come, we will open the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said. Xiao Wendi asked with a frown, What? Star King, Mad Devil, and Fairy Bai Hua said to Yi Chunfeng, You know all three of them. Xiao Wendi knew that Kong Sungchun and the other two were among the oldest and strongest in the Xingluo continent. Yes, the three seniors have a good relationship with me. Moreover, to open the Imperial Mausoleum, I need the two keys in their hands. Yi Qianfeng nodded and said, Then aren't you afraid that they will take away the opportunity that should belong to you? Xiao Wenyi asked with a smile. Of course not. I don't want to take all the opportunities in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked you to come. Yi Qianfeng shook his head and said, Well, let's wait patiently for a few days. I think the three seniors should be here soon. When they come, I will use the astrolabe to summon the 6 keys and open the Imperial Mausoleum. Yi Qianfeng said slowly, Yes. Xiao Wenyi nodded and followed Yi Qianfeng to a lush ancient tree. In silence, they waited for Kong Sungqin and the other two to arrive. Xiao Wenyi, how many experts does your Xia family have? Yi Qianfeng was very curious about the mysterious Xia family and asked softly. In the future, when he took control of the Xingluo Sky City, he wanted to get in touch with the most ancient family in the Xingluo continent. Why are you asking about my Xia family? Xiao Wenyi asked vigilantly. Don't be nervous. I don't mean anything. I'm just asking. Looking at Xiao Wenyi's sparkling eyes, Yi Qianfeng rubbed his nose and said with a wry smile, You better not ask about my Xia family, and I won't tell you. Xiao Wenyi warned softly. All right. Then can you tell me why your breasts have gotten bigger after not seeing you for a long time? Is it because you feel inferior and secretly ate something? Looking at Xiao Wenyi's proud breasts under her red dress, Yi Qianfeng said with an evil smile, Go to hell. You're the one who feels inferior. You're the one who secretly ate something. Xiao Wenyi was so angry that her face turned red, and she said furiously, Xiao Wenyi, do you know what is the most obvious sign of a woman lying? Looking at the flustered and exasperated Xiao Wenyi, Yi Qianfeng said with a smile, That is, your breasts will become bigger and your face will turn red. Yi Qianfeng, you stinking shameless bastard. You dare to make fun of me? I will teach you a lesson. Xiao Wenyi's breathing became hurried, her breasts rising and falling. Like an enraged leopard, she suddenly attacked Yi Qianfeng. Look, what did I say something wrong? That was not effective. Yi Qianfeng dodged Xiao Wenyi's attack while laughing. Damn scoundrel, I'm definitely going to skin you alive today. Xiao Wenyi, whose face was completely red, roared. A 3-legged golden crow appeared around her body, and with a terrifying amount of soul power, it continuously attacked Yi Qianfeng. Yi Qianfeng wanted to compete with Xiao Wenyi, so he didn't dodge. Instead, he summoned the Blood Dragon Emperor and used all his strength to meet Xiao Wenyi's attack. After overcoming the double sun, extinguishing heavenly punishment, and breaking through to become a level 4 Beast Emperor, Yi Qianfeng's strength had increased tremendously. However, when he fought against Xiao Wenyi, he discovered that Xiao Wenyi's strength had increased even faster. After fighting for an incense stick's worth of time, not only did he not gain the upper hand, he was suppressed by her. Little mosquito, be careful. I'm going to use a top-grade Dao skill. Yi Qianfeng reminded her and deduced the life and death Dao intent to the limit. His right hand fiercely slapped out, and 90 life and death Dao patterns turned into a life and death Dao disc that tore through space and bombarded Xiao Wenyi. Star Dao diagram, her gaze locked onto Yi Qianfeng's life and death Dao disc. Not only did Xiao Wenyi not dodge, she met it with all her strength. A Dao diagram that seemed to contain countless stars appeared in her hand and ruthlessly smashed towards the life and death Dao disc. Kathy, 2 terrifying Dao intents collided and immediately released boundless energy, causing the void to be filled with cracks. Boundless hurricanes shattered all the vegetation in a 1-mile radius. Little Yi, use whatever other moves you have. If you are late, I will beat you until you are looking for your teeth on the ground. After forming the star Dao diagram to break Yi Qianfeng's top-grade Dao skill, Xiao Wenyi followed up with another attack. She continued to unleash a barrage of attacks. She wanted to defeat Yi Qianfeng in one go and teach him a lesson. Universe Sword Array. Xiao Wenyi's attacks became fiercer and fiercer. Yi Qianfeng had no choice but to summon his 18 ancient swords and form the Universe Sword Array. He wanted to use the Universe Sword Array to restrain Xiao Wenyi. And What kind of strange sword array was this? Under the attacks of the universe sword array, Xiao Wendy's Dao in 10 attacks were constantly broken by Yi Chenfeng. Her attacks were also gradually suppressed. Death Dao diagram. Star Dao diagram. Her attacks were continuously broken, and Xiao Wendy had no choice but to form 2 Dao diagrams to counterattack. However, the universe sword array was extremely powerful, and the 2 Dao diagrams were unable to break it. The two of them fought with all their strength and fiercely. They fought for more than 10 hours, and neither of them could do anything to the other. In the end, Xiao Wendy, who had expended a lot of energy, had no choice but to stop and end this intense battle. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 952. Early morning, thin mist. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 ear-piercing sounds broke the silence of the forest. Yi Chenfeng opened his eyes as he looked at the 3 blurry figures flying towards him at high speed. Kong Sungqin and the other 2 had finally arrived. Level 6 Combat Beast Emperor, congratulations to the 3 seniors for breaking through the bottleneck. Feeling the strength of Kong Sungqin and the other 2, Yi Chenfeng revealed a smile. The stronger they were, the more help they would be to him. Chenfeng, this is all thanks to you. If it weren't for your extreme Emperor Dao pills, the 3 of us wouldn't have been able to break through to level 6 Combat Beast Emperor so quickly. Kong Sungqin, whose hair and beard were as white as snow and whose face was glowing, was in an extremely good mood, laughed, and said, "But compared to your cultivation speed, we still can't catch up. Yeah, before we came, we heard that you passed the double sun extinguishing heavenly punishment outside Xingluo Sky City and defeated Sha Tianya, Lian Xing, and the others. Compared to you, the 3 of us are really old." Bai Feng said with a smile. "Little Yi, you really passed the double sun extinguishing heavenly punishment." Xiao Wendy opened her eyes wide and asked with a shocked expression, "What do you think?" Yi Chenfeng looked at Xiao Wendy's unyielding expression and replied with a smile. "Humph, don't act like a big shot in front of me. Be careful not to make this great aunt unhappy. I'll spread the scene of you passing the heavenly punishment naked. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant then." Xiao Wendy pouted her white little nose and warned while grinding her teeth. "Yi Chenfeng, Chenfeng, are they your friends?" Sung Biyue asked softly as she looked at the young Xiao Wantai beside Yi Chenfeng. Xiao Wantai, who did not wear any makeup but had a stunning appearance and an excellent figure, and the Black Divine Ant, who had a tall and sturdy figure and exuded a dangerous aura. "She's my friend Xiao Wendy, and this is the Black God Ant, her contracted beast." Yi Chenfeng looked at Xiao Wendy, who was smiling sweetly, and introduced them. "Xiao Wendy, Xia." Kong Sungqin and the other 2 looked at each other and asked in surprise, "You are a descendant of Imperial Star?" Wen Dai greets the 3 seniors. The old ancestor often mentions the 3 seniors at home. If there is time, the 3 seniors can come to the Xia family as guests. I think the old ancestor will be very happy. Xiao Wendy seemed to have become a completely different person. She quickly stepped forward and spoke in an extremely obedient manner. Good, good, good. Your Xia clan is finally going to be born. This Xingluo continent is going to change." After confirming Xiao Wendy's identity, Kong Sungqin and the other 2 were even happier. Even though the 3 great families were one of the most powerful forces in the Xingluo continent, they were still far behind the Xia family. If the Xia family had not kept themselves hidden from the world, then the power they controlled would not be any weaker than the Xingluo Sky City. Seniors, there is no time to lose. Let us enter the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng led Kong Sungqin, Xiao Wendy, and the other 2 into the depths of the Chaotic Cloud Peak. Because of the Xingluo Sky City hidden within the Chaotic Cloud Peak, the true Demon Clan spies had all been killed by Yi Chenfeng's 3 level 8 heavenly beasts. As such, when Yi Chenfeng and the rest arrived at the entrance of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, they did not alert the 2 superpowers. This was the ancestral mausoleum. Looking at the Xingluo imperial mausoleum hidden within the mountains, the smile on Xiao Wendy's face disappeared, and her heart was filled with sadness. Seniors, can you please give me the keys in your hands? Yi Chenfeng looked at Xiao Wendy, who was staring at the Xingluo imperial mausoleum in silence for a long time. From Kong Sungchen and Bai Feng, Yi Chenfeng asked for 2 imperial mausoleum keys made of special materials, engraved with numerous star runes, and inserted them into the grooves of the astrolabe. Next, Yi Chenfeng infused his soul power into the center of the astrolabe, which seemed to contain a starry sky, and controlled the astrolabe to summon the other 6 imperial mausoleum keys. The astrolabe was the last flag left behind by the Star Emperor, and it contained a mysterious power. Being summoned by the astrolabe, the imperial mausoleum keys that Sha Tinya and the true demon clan's demon king had obtained immediately sensed it. Following that, the true demon clan's demon king and Xingluo Sky City's old city lord, Sha Tinya, had an inconceivable scene. The imperial mausoleum keys seemed to have a life of their own, and they suddenly broke free from their control, flying to the horizon and disappearing mysteriously. About a day later, the 4 imperial mausoleum keys flew over and automatically inserted themselves into the astrolabe. After obtaining all the imperial mausoleum keys, Yi Chenfeng did not hesitate. He went to the thick entrance of the imperial mausoleum, inserted the 6 keys into the grooves, and opened the Xingluo imperial mausoleum that had been sealed for hundreds of thousands of years. Rumble. The ground trembled as the Xingluo imperial mausoleum opened. An extremely cold and gloomy aura was released from the dark and gloomy imperial mausoleum. If a normal cultivator was hit by this gloomy aura, the gloomy aura would instantly invade their body. In the best-case scenario, they would be poisoned and their meridians would be damaged. In the worst-case scenario, they would die instantly. However, Yi Chenfeng and the other 4 had abundant yang energy in their bodies. The gloomy aura that had been condensed in the imperial mausoleum for hundreds of thousands of years was no threat to them. Before the gloomy aura could even touch their bodies, it was dispersed by their powerful blood qi. Let's go. Let's enter the imperial mausoleum. The imperial mausoleum keys that they had painstakingly obtained had disappeared. Whether it was the true demon tribe's demon king or Sha Tinya, they would all know the reason. Thus, Yi Chenfeng did not waste any time. He summoned the 150,000 gene Fangtian halberd and held it in his hand. He was the first to enter the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Black God Ant, the task of guarding the Imperial Mausoleum's entrance will be handed over to you. Kill anyone who tries to enter the Imperial Mausoleum. When they entered the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, Xiao Wendy had given the Black God Ant a death order. Yes, Master. The Black God Ant was a saint beast, which was equivalent to a 1-star Dao saint in the heaven domain. In the Xingluo continent, unless it encountered an expert from Nirvana, normal experts would not be its match. Light screen. After passing through the restrictions of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, Yi Chenfeng realized that the scene in front of him had changed. The gloomy mausoleum had disappeared. In front of him was a light screen that seemed to contain everything in the world, blocking their path. Xingluo's all creation. Looking at the constantly changing scene and the strange light screen, Xiao Wendy, who was very skilled in array formations, raised her eyebrows and said in surprise, "It seems that the Imperial Mausoleum was built by the ancestor long ago. Otherwise, the ancestor would not have set up such an illusion when he was dying." Xingluo's all creation was one of the Star Emperor's supernatural powers. It could create a chaotic space and make people lose themselves. Kong Sungchen and the other 2 had read about Xingluo's all creation in ancient books, so they knew how terrifying this supernatural power was. It was said that when the Star Emperor used this supernatural power, he even confused a powerful person from the heaven domain and killed him with the power of illusion, which shocked the entire Xingluo continent. The Star Emperor's ancestor set up Xingluo's all creation in the Imperial Mausoleum to test the people who entered the Imperial Mausoleum and prevent his inheritance from being obtained by the alien race. Xia Wenyi said, When we enter this Xingluo's all creation, we will probably receive different kinds of tests. Only by passing the tests can we enter the imperial mausoleum and inherit the ancestors' inheritance. Well, the test in the Xingluo's imperial mausoleum should not be difficult, but it is reasonable. Even we, on our deathbed, want to find a genius to inherit our inheritance, so we will naturally try to increase the difficulty of the tests. Kong Sungchen said, "Let's go. We will enter this Xingluo's all creation." Yi Chenfeng was not afraid of the tests in the Xingluo's imperial mausoleum. He disappeared with Xiao Wendi and the others into the ever-changing Xingluo's all creation. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 953. What a terrifying illusory power. If this illusory power directly targeted the soul, it would probably cause people to lose themselves instantly and fall into an illusory realm. Looking at the endless starry sky and the falling meteors in the distance, Yi Chenfeng couldn't help but sigh at the terror of the Star Emperor. Watermark advertisement test. Although Yi Chenfeng had experienced a lot, the Star Emperor's strength and methods were the best he had ever seen. He really wanted to know, in this Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, other than the Star Emperor's inheritance, the Nirvana Heart, and the map of the Central Continent's outer sky, what other heaven-defying items were there? Yi Chenfeng and the other four cautiously flew through this strange starry sky. As they flew, they discovered that a starry vortex had appeared in this strange starry sky. When the meteors that streaked across the sky passed by this vortex, they were immediately swallowed up by the vortex and instantly crushed into pieces. What a terrifying starry whirlpool. It could even crush meteors. If a person was swallowed by this whirlpool, there wouldn't even be a corpse left. Looking at the scene of the starry whirlpool crushing meteors, Zheng Biue, who was wearing a phoenix-patterned robe, sucked in a breath of cold air. She was shocked by the starry whirlpool. I think this starry whirlpool might be the exit of this starry sky. Yi Chenfeng stared at the starry whirlpool for a while. After 5 transformations, the God-Eater brain that had become even more heaven-defying detected the abnormality. He suddenly spoke. "Are you sure?" Xiao Wenyi turned to look at him and asked faintly. 90% sure. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, "You guys wait for me here. I'll go closer to the starry whirlpool and I'll be completely sure. Chenfeng, be careful. If there's danger, come back immediately." Kong Sungchen valued Yi Chenfeng very much. He was afraid of accidents, so he warned seriously. "Senior Star King, don't worry about him." Xiao Wenyi knew Yi Chenfeng's methods. She revealed 2 cute dimples and said, "As the saying goes, good people don't live long, but bad people live for 1,000 years. He'll be fine." Yi Chenfeng, what a terrifying tearing power. As he approached the vortex of stars, even with Yi Chenfeng's powerful physical body, he felt a trace of pressure. He felt that the space he was in was extremely fragile due to the vortex of stars, as if it could collapse at any moment. However, there wasn't the slightest trace of worry on Yi Chenfeng's face. That was because he believed in his own strength. Even if space collapsed, it wouldn't threaten his life. 1. The power of the God-Eater brain radiated out completely, projecting into the vortex of stars to sense its actual situation. Sure enough, this was all an illusion. This vortex of stars was a passage to the next illusory space, and what it tested was one's courage, and insight. The God-Eater brain easily sensed the vortex of stars. Yi Chenfeng informed Xiao Wendi and the others via voice transmission. With a flash, he was the first one to enter the vortex of stars and disappear. "Come on, let's follow them." Xiao Wendi and the others didn't hesitate. They endured the terrifying tearing power of space and followed behind Yi Chenfeng. They entered the vortex of stars, forcibly passing through the twisting space passage. After about half an incense stick of time, Yi Qinfeng's group of 5 passed through the twisting space passage and entered another part of the starry sky. And in this part of the starry sky, there were 3 space passages shining with a red light. Above each passage were written the words easy, hard, and nightmare. Seeing these 3 illusory words, Yi Qinfeng's group of 5 knew that these words represented the difficulty of each passage. And if they wanted to obtain the most precious inheritance of Xingluo's imperial tomb, they had to pass through the nightmare difficulty passage. Qingfeng, us 3 old fellows aren't too interested in the Star Sovereign's inheritance. Even if we pass through the hard difficulty passage, we'll pass through it. Kong Sungqin's group of 3 didn't compete with Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy for the most precious inheritance of the imperial tomb. They all chose the hard difficulty passage and entered. Let's go and see just how difficult this nightmare difficulty trial is. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the beautiful Xia Wendy beside him. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. Then, the 2 of them slowly flew towards the nightmare difficulty passage that emitted a blood-red light and a chilling aura. When the 2 of them broke through the restrictions at the entrance, they discovered that the other party had disappeared. They had appeared in a blood-red space. In this space, the sun in the sky was red, the earth was red, the mountains were red, the rocks were red, and even the slowly flowing river was red. It could be said that besides Yi Qinfeng, everything here was red. This blood-red color made one feel stifled and indescribably uncomfortable. However, Yi Qinfeng's heart of martial arts was strong. He dispelled the outside world's influence and slowly flew towards this blood-red space. Roar! Suddenly, a deafening roar of a beast rang out. A blood-red dragon that was over 1,000 meters long flew out from the blood mountain in the distance. It had a bloody mouth that was tens of meters long, and it let out a roar that pierced through clouds and cracked rocks at Yi Qinfeng. The roar was so loud that it hurt his eardrums, and the blood and qi in his body started to boil. Dragon, a blood dragon formed from an illusion. Looking at the lifelike blood dragon soaring through the clouds, the God-Eater brain immediately deduced that this blood dragon was not real, but formed from a restriction. Blood Dragon Emperor, go! With a thought, Yi Qinfeng's soul transformed into the Blood Dragon Emperor. It carried an imposing aura like a monarch descending from the heavens and met the restriction blood dragon head-on. The 2 of them fought in midair. After consecutively crossing heavenly punishment and breaking through to the 4th grade, Yi Qinfeng's soul beast, the Blood Dragon Emperor, had been greatly tempered and became extremely terrifying. Coupled with the innate Dragon Emperor Qi, not only did it not fall into a disadvantage in the battle against the restriction Blood Dragon, but it also restrained its attacks. While the Blood Dragon Emperor and the restriction Blood Dragon were fighting, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce at high speed, sensing this blood-red world and looking for a breakthrough. Array. This blood-red world is formed by an array. Under the God-Eater brain's deduction, Yi Chunfeng understood the reality of this blood-red world. It was actually a large array laid down by the Star Emperor. If he wanted to leave, he had to find the array core and break the entire array. Roar! While Yi Qinfeng was deducing the truth and falsehood of the bloody world, the Blood Dragon Emperor, who had unleashed his might, bit down on the restriction Blood Dragon's neck. He exerted his strength and bit off the ferocious meteor-like dragon head, destroying it. Go! Yi Qinfeng's body flashed and appeared on the Blood Dragon Emperor. Stepping on the huge dragon's head, he flew towards the blood-red mountains in the distance, looking for the location of the array core. Yi Qinfeng had just flown into the blood-red mountains with the Blood Dragon Emperor when the blood-red ancient trees shook. Large patches of blood-red leaves fell off from the lush treetops, attacking Yi Qinfeng and the Blood Dragon Emperor like overwhelming sharp swords. Blood Dragon Emperor fuse. Feeling that every blood-red leaf was as sharp as a top-grade celestial artifact, Yi Qinfeng decisively fused with the Blood Dragon Emperor, using his body, which was comparable to a mid-grade celestial artifact, to resist the attack. When the dense blood-red leaves attacked Yi Qinfeng's body, they constantly penetrated his soul power defense, but when they stabbed Yi Qinfeng's body, they could not hurt his body. Cloud-stepping boots amplify. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned the cloud-stepping boots, which constantly amplified his speed. He penetrated the dense blood-red leaves like a meteor, sliding down in the void. When Yi Chunfeng flew into the depths of the blood-red mountains, blood-red ancient trees, more than 10 meters tall, suddenly rose from the ground and slammed towards Yi Chunfeng with tens of millions of kilograms of force. Sword step, break. Yi Chunfeng stepped out, and a sword diagram appeared under his feet. Dense sword Dao patterns flew out like this, crushing the blood-red ancient trees from all directions. He continued to solve the tests. Ordinary emperors would not be as relaxed as Yi Chunfeng when facing the tests in the blood-red space. Just the attacks that were comparable to a top-grade celestial artifact were enough to make them helpless. Array Core. The God-Eater brain had found the Array Core. When Yi Chunfeng solved the tests like a hot knife through butter, he came to the depths of the blood-red mountains. He locked onto the location of the Array Core and quickly flew over. He came to a corpse mound full of bones, exuding a gloomy aura and a strange coffin. This corpse mound was the Array Core of the blood-red space. If he could break it, the blood array would be broken. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 954. Formation within a formation. Standing in midair, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce the formation. He discovered that the corpse mound under his feet was a formation within a formation. It was also the most terrifying part of the blood formation. It would not be easy to break it. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. However, Yi Chunfeng was not afraid at all. His body flashed and entered the formation within the formation. In the next moment, the formation within the formation started operating rapidly. A large amount of Qi appeared in the corpse mound and quickly poured into the only coffin in the corpse mound. Boom! After absorbing enough Qi, the coffin suddenly exploded. A middle-aged man wearing blood-red battle armor and holding a 3-meter-long spear with a ghost head appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng. His eyes were hollow, and his body emitted the power of the heavens. Level 6 Combat Beast Emperor. Looking at the man in blood-red armor in front of him, Yi Chunfeng could not help but reveal a grave expression. Moreover, he felt that the man in blood-red armor in front of him was not an ordinary Level 6 Combat Beast Emperor. He should be a puppet refined from the corpses of the Heaven Race experts that the Star Emperor had killed. Challenging someone 2 levels above him, the difficulty of the Nightmare stage was indeed not small. Yi Chunfeng finally understood the true difficulty of the Nightmare stage trial. In the Combat Beast Emperor realm, the difference in strength between each level was very large. Especially towards the end, the difference in strength would be even more obvious. Without a shocking foundation in strength, it was almost impossible for a Combat Beast Emperor to challenge someone 2 levels above him. He wondered how strong Xia Wendy's opponent was. Looking at his opponent, Yi Chunfeng could not help but think of Xia Wendy's opponent. Could it be an expert for Nirvana? However, after thinking about it, Yi Chunfeng felt that Nirvana's puppet should not appear so early. Xia Wendy's trial should be slightly easier than his. You still have time to retreat now. Once you accept the challenge, you'll either live or die. The man in blood-red armor suddenly spoke in human language without a trace of emotion. Since I am here, I will naturally not retreat. Although the man in blood-red armor in front of him was terrifying, there was still a gap between him and Sha Tianya and Lian Xing. With Yi Chunfeng's strength and foundation, he still had a chance to kill him. Whoosh! Hearing Yi Chunfeng's choice, the crimson-armored man immediately attacked. He held a 3-meter-long spear and thrust it at Yi Chunfeng like a dragon emerging from the sea. The fierce attack made Yi Chunfeng feel suffocated. The man in the crimson armor pierced through the air. Yi Chunfeng activated the power of his 5 acupoints. Holding the 300,000-pound sky piercer halberd in his hand, he faced the attack head-on. Like a huge meteorite, he smashed onto the incomparably sharp ghost head long spear. When the two divine weapons collided, a blinding light burst forth. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. The two divine weapons collided, and neither of them moved. However, upon closer inspection, the muscles on Yi Qinfeng's arms were wriggling rapidly. Obviously, Yi Qinfeng was under a lot of pressure from the spear attack of the Crimson Armored Man. He had just broken through to become a level 4 Beast Emperor, and his strength had just increased to 50 million Jin, so he was barely able to withstand the terrifying power of the spear attack. After more than 10 breaths, the Crimson Armored Man quickly whipped out his terrifyingly powerful ghost head spear and thrusted it out for the second time. The spear fiercely pierced the Sky Piercer halberd, continuously shattering the Sky Piercer halberd's 50 million Jin of force. The shockwave caused Yi Qinfeng's arm to become slightly numb, and his entire body continuously retreated. As expected of a level 6 Beast Emperor, his attack power was indeed shocking. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the surging qi in his body. Without hesitation, he ignited his divine demon bloodline and transformed into his crimson divine demon body. His physical strength kept on increasing, and his whole body kept on growing. His body also became as tough as steel, extremely powerful. When Yi Qinfeng transformed into his divine demon body, the Crimson Armored Man followed up with another attack. He quickly waved the spear in his hand, creating streaks of spear qi that looked like sun-piercing rainbows. Countless blood-red qi waves rolled up and swept towards Yi Qinfeng. Breaking the spear qi waves with brute force, the muscles on Yi Qinfeng's arms quickly swelled, and he exploded out with 150 million Jin of force. He brandished his halberd, carrying the might of the mountains and rivers. He chopped down ferociously, continuously breaking the blood-colored spear light that the blood-armored man sent out. Boom, boom, boom. The halberd and spear qi waves continued to collide with each other, bursting out countless rays of light. For a moment, the two of them were engulfed by the exploding energy waves, enduring the destructive attacks. After transforming into his divine demon body, Yi Qinfeng's body was almost at the level of a high-grade Dao artifact, while the Crimson Armored Man's armor was also quite strong. It completely blocked the shock waves of energy waves. The two of them fought with speed, and neither of them could do anything to the other. Holy thunder of purple beginnings, break! The two of them fought fiercely for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Yi Qinfeng decisively changed his attack. The terrifying holy thunder of purple beginnings shot out of his mouth like a long snake, tearing through the air and bombarding the Crimson Armored Man's body. The terrifying attack power split open the Crimson Armored Man's armor and sent him flying. Heavenly demon dance in all directions as the Crimson Armored Man retreated. Yi Qinfeng followed up with another attack. He slashed out with his halberd, which transformed into 8 halberd shadows. They were like layers upon layers of massive waves, and they viciously bombarded the Crimson Armored Man's head. Once his head was struck by the heavenly halberd, there was no doubt that it would be shattered. At this critical moment, a crimson-colored formation diagram appeared beneath the Crimson Armored Man's feet. Borrowing the power of the formation within the formation, his strength instantly skyrocketed. He stabbed the spear qi wave after wave at an unbelievable angle, forcibly breaking through Yi Qinfeng's ultimate attack. Let's see how many times you can borrow the power of the formation within the formation. Yi Qinfeng had already anticipated that the Crimson Armored Man would be able to borrow the power of the formation within the formation to continue attacking with his heavenly halberd. He wanted to rely on absolute strength to kill him. Evil Ghost Chaos, the Crimson Armored Man, let out an earth-shattering roar, and a large number of evil ghosts crawled out of the corpse mound as if they had crawled out from hell. They let out chilling cries of ghosts, and they bit toward Yi Qinfeng to disrupt his attack. Life and Death Dao Intent, the emotionless Dao of life and death. Thousands of evil ghosts attacked from all directions. Yi Qinfeng immediately deduced the life and death Dao intent to the extreme and borrowed the power of life and death to kill the evil ghosts. Just as Yi Chen-feng was deducing the life and death Dao intent to restrain the evil ghosts, the crimson armored man attacked again. The spear in his hand transformed into a ferocious ghost dragon. It pierced through space with boundless killing intent, and it wanted to pierce through Yi Chen-feng's chest. Heaven and earth Dao intent. Fusion Yi Chen-feng decisively fused 90 heaven and earth Dao patterns into his heavenly halberd, amplifying its attack power. He met the crimson armored man head-on with an unstoppable force. The two divine weapons clashed once again, and the space around them trembled. A powerful shockwave surged out in all directions like a tidal wave. Purple Beginning's holy thunder break. While facing the crimson armored man's fatal attack, Yi Chen-feng released the Purple Beginning's holy thunder to attack the crimson armored man's body, damaging his crimson armored body. Array diagram appear. While the crimson armored man was being restrained by the Purple Beginning's holy thunder, a strange crimson-colored array diagram appeared beneath his feet. It repaired his body and attacked Yi Chen-feng with all his might. Under the enhancement of the crimson-colored array diagram, the crimson armored man's attacks became more and more ferocious. He gradually suppressed Yi Chen-feng's explosive 150 million kilograms of force and tore apart the life and death Dao patterns that surrounded his body. The crimson armored man's attacks became more and more powerful. When he borrowed the power of the array diagram and tore apart the life and death Dao patterns around Yi Chen-feng's body, wailing evil ghosts crazily rushed towards Yi Chen-feng, wanting to devour his flesh and blood. Whoosh! A black flame spewed out of Yi Chen-feng's body. At the crucial moment, Yi Chen-feng summoned the Death Blaze heavenly fire, which instantly melted the evil ghosts that came close to him. In the next moment, the heavenly halberd disappeared from Yi Chen-feng's hand and was replaced by the high-grade Emperor Heaven Sword. Yi Chen-feng, who had lost his patience, started his ultimate counterattack. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blogs, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 955. Sword Dao Diagram. Yi Chen-feng held the Emperor's Sky sword to counterattack. The sword soul appeared behind him and turned into a terrifying sword Dao diagram. It released endless sword Dao patterns and amplified the power of his sword. TSK. As the sword slashed across, a large number of evil spirits were turned into ashes. The terrifying sword radiance made the blood-armored man feel a strong sense of danger. He stepped on the array diagram and waved his spear to counter the attack. Buzz! As the two powerful attacks clashed, the blood-armored man's spear radiance was broken. Yi Chen-feng's sword, which had fused with the sword Dao diagram, directly pressed the blood-armored man's spear into the shape of a crescent moon. A strong rebounding force was generated from the ghost-headed spear. The powerful force caused the blood-armored man's arm to go numb. He could barely hold the spear in his hand. Power of heaven. As his arm was injured, the array diagram under the blood-armored man's feet became brighter. He used the power of heaven that he had hidden in his body to amplify his attack and counter Yi Chen-feng's peerless sword. Dao of two extremes of life and death. As Yi Chen-feng and the blood-armored man were fighting intensely, Yi Chen-feng quickly struck out with his palm. The Dao diagram, which was filled with 90 life and death Dao patterns, was imprinted on the blood-armored man's chest. It shattered his defense and forced him to retreat. Boundless Heaven's sword. Yi Chen-feng struck out with his sword again. The sword radiance, which was filled with the power of heaven, was like the boundless Dao. It slashed the blood-armored man's body and split his blood-armored body, sending him flying. Power of heaven burn. As his body was injured, the blood-armored man started to burn the power of heaven in his body to stabilize his injuries. He used the power of the array within the array to counterattack Yi Chen-feng with all his might. The spear aura was so ferocious that it shook heaven and earth. Every spear thrust was like a rolling wave. The waves were turbulent and endless. It was as if they wanted to annihilate Yi Chen-feng. Qian Kuan sword formation facing the blood-armored man's frenzied attacks. Yi Chen-feng used his mind, and 18 divine weapons flew out of the Qian Kuan realm. Under his soul spirit control, they turned into a Qian Kuan array diagram and instantly tore apart the blood-armored man's attacks. Under Yi Chen-feng's control of the Cosmos sword formation, the attacks of the 18 divine weapons became more and more ferocious. They kept tearing apart the crimson-armored man's attacks and severely injuring his body. In just 10 breaths of time, the blood-red armor worn by the man was torn apart by the Cosmos sword formation. His strong body was riddled with holes and shattered into pieces. It's over. A sword light flashed by at an astonishing speed. Under the blood-armored man's empty gaze, Yi Chen-feng cut off his head. In the next moment, the headless blood-armored man shattered. Yi Chen-feng had used the Cosmos sword array to kill the blood-armored man and passed the test. As for the low-grade Dao artifact in his hand, the ghost-headed spear became Yi Chen-feng's spoils of war. Ka-ka-ka-ah series of cracking sounds could be heard. The moment the crimson-armored man shattered, the heart of the formation also shattered. The blood-red world in front of Yi Chen-feng collapsed, and a black hole appeared. His body flashed slightly, and he passed through the black hole. He arrived in a picturesque place with ancient vines entwined around it. There was no trace of Yin energy, and it was like a paradise. In this space, Yi Chen-feng couldn't sense any danger. However, he didn't let his guard down. He controlled the God-Eater brain to scan this space. Yes, there's really no danger. Yi Chen-feng controlled the God-Eater brain to scan for danger, but he still couldn't sense any danger. This surprised him a little. He flew carefully and looked for an exit. Yes, there's something in the pool ahead. As he flew, the soul power Yi Chen-feng released detected a weak fluctuation of spiritual energy in an extremely pure and clear pool of water. He raised his eyebrows slightly and flew to the top of the pool. Is there a treasure in here? The power of the God-Eater brain seeped into the pool and sensed layers of hidden restrictions. Yi Chen-feng broke into the pool without hesitation. He passed through the restrictions and quickly swam to the bottom of the pool. There are so many hidden restrictions in this pool. If I didn't have the God-Eater brain, I wouldn't have been able to sense the restrictions at the bottom of the pool. After swimming to the bottom of the pool, Yi Chen-feng locked onto the restrictions at the bottom of the pool. With a thought, his soul power erupted and seeped into the restrictions at the bottom of the pool to forcefully break them. Crack! The God-Eater brain had evolved, and its cracking ability had greatly increased. In less than 10 breaths, the restrictions at the bottom of the pool were broken. A large amount of milky white spirit liquid seeped out from the cracks and fused into the pool, filling it with spirituality. Pills. There are 5 pills sealed at the bottom of the pool. After passing through the cracks in the restriction at the bottom of the pool, Yi Chen-feng discovered that there were 5 medicinal pills in the milky white liquid. Judging from the ancient pill markings on the surface of these 5 medicinal pills, the spirituality they contained, and the time they had been nurtured, these 5 medicinal pills should all be ancient Dao pills, which were extremely precious. Break the seal. The soul power in Yi Chen-feng's body erupted and condensed into a giant hand. It grabbed at the 5 pills and forcefully broke the seals, wanting to collect them into the universe mirror. However, these 5 ancient Dao pills seemed to have a life of their own. When they were grabbed by the soul power hand, they immediately became restless and produced a powerful force. They slowly broke apart the soul power hand that Yi Chen-feng had condensed and broke free. Interesting, I didn't expect these 5 ancient Dao pills to be so powerful. Yi Chen-feng's lips curled up slightly. The power of his Dao intent erupted, forming a powerful pressure that suppressed the 5 ancient Dao pills and forcefully subdued them. At the same time, the extremely injured Xia Wendy, whose face was pale and whose clothes were dyed red with blood, appeared in this picturesque space. From the looks of her injuries, she had encountered a terrifying challenge in a nightmarish trial. Spirit Pool Xia Wendy loved cleanliness. When she discovered the pool that had fused with a massive amount of spirit liquid and was emitting spiritual energy, Her beautiful eyes shined with pleasant surprise. She impatiently washed away the bloodstains on her body. Standing at the edge of the pool, Xiao Wendy released her powerful soul force to cover the surroundings. When she didn't discover anything strange, she immediately jumped into the pool filled with spirituality. The cool and refreshing feeling caused her mind to shake, and she almost shouted out loud. Bathing in the pool, the cautious Xiao Wendy sensed the pool. Besides the faintly discernible wrinkles, she didn't discover Yi Chunfeng hiding at the bottom of the pool. He was doing his best to subdue the 5 ancient Dao pills. Xiao Wendy didn't notice anything strange in the pool. She revealed a smile as beautiful as a flower. She quickly took off the bloody clothes on her body and threw them to the side of the pool, revealing her milky, smooth, and delicate skin. She didn't have a trace of fat on her lower abdomen, her slender waist, her straight and slender legs, and her well-developed breasts. I wonder if that pervert will be able to pass the nightmarish trial. If he fails, how should I ridicule him? As Xiao Wendy comfortably washed away the filth on her body, Yi Chunfeng's figure involuntarily appeared in her mind. She revealed an enchanting smirk and silently muttered in her heart. But what she didn't know was that Yi Chunfeng had borrowed the might of the universe sword array to pass the nightmarish trial faster than her. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng was currently hiding in the restriction at the bottom of the pool, controlling his Dao intent to subdue the 5 precious ancient Dao pills. As long as Yi Chunfeng drilled out of the restriction, something big would happen. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will be able to see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 956. Ancient Dao Pills Put Away. Under the suppression of the Dao insight, the 5 ancient Dao pills finally stopped moving restlessly and calmed down. With a command in his heart, Yi Chunfeng put away the 5 ancient Dao pills into the universe mirror. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test in. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng tore apart the restrictions that had just healed and appeared within the pool that was filled with intelligence. When he passed through the layers of restrictions and swiftly swam towards the top of the pool, his mind seemed as if it was struck by a bolt from the blue, and it stopped moving. His eyes opened wider and wider as he disregarded the pouring of the icy cold pool water and opened his mouth wide. No matter how he racked his brains, he was unable to figure out why there would be so many coincidences in the world. Xia, when he was actually bathing in this pool, and she was even bathing so happily. Under the jade waves, Xiao Wendy's delicate skin, straight and fair, beautiful legs, and crystalline and translucent feet emitted a seductive glow, and she was beautiful to the point it was suffocating. Especially those 2 lumps of waves that emitted light. They even captured Yi Chunfeng's eyes. But when he thought of her ferocious character, Yi Chunfeng's body trembled, and he wanted to hide within the universe mirror. But at the instant he hid within the universe mirror, Xiao Wendy, who'd washed off all the bloodstains on her body and was in a good mood, fiercely dove into the pool. Suddenly, she faintly noticed a figure appear within the pool, and it vanished in a flash. Lecher, you actually dare hide below and peep at me bathing? Although Xiao Wendy didn't see Yi Chunfeng's appearance clearly, based on her intuition, she was 100% sure that the figure hidden at the bottom of the pool was Yi Chunfeng. When she thought of how her pure body was once again seen by Yi Chunfeng, Xiao Wendy was furious to the point of wanting to kill someone. Lecher, don't hide anymore. I've already seen you, and it's useless even if you hide to the ends of the earth. The furious Xiao Wendy swiftly withdrew a set of robes to conceal her flawless and peerlessly beautiful figure, and then she let out a lion's roar as she berated loudly. Xiao Wendy, don't get agitated. Listen to my explanation. Things aren't like what you think. Hearing the angry roar coming from the pool, Yi Chunfeng knew that he had been discovered. Hiding was useless, so he braced himself and left the universe realm. Facing Xiao Wendy's fiery eyes, he awkwardly said, "Fine, I'll listen to you." Xiao Wendy ground her teeth and said, "If you don't make it up well, I'll castrate you. I'm not making this up, nor am I spying on you on purpose. I came here earlier than you and discovered the seal at the bottom of the pool," Yi Chen Feng explained. "Is that really the case?" Xiao Wendy said doubtfully. "Before I took a shower, I released my soul to feel around. Why didn't I find you? Did you deliberately hide your aura and hide in the dark? That's because your soul is too weak, okay?" Yi Chen Feng looked at Xiao Wendy's questioning look and said helplessly, "Besides, it's not like I haven't seen you naked before. Why would I peek? There's nothing to see." After mentioning her scar, Xiao Wendy immediately flew into a rage. She rushed towards Yi Chen Feng and unleashed a palm strike. The powerful force caused the pond to collapse. "Xiao Wendy, can't you be a bit gentler? Be careful, or you won't be able to get married in the future." Yi Chen Feng dodged Xiao Wendy's attack as he fled towards the top of the pool. "What you should be worried about now is not whether I can get married or not. Instead, you should consider if you can't calm me down. When I get out, I'll definitely spread the image of your naked ass," Xiao Wendy said loudly. A good man doesn't fight with a woman. Thinking that Xiao Wendy had something on him, Yi Chen Feng felt a headache coming on. He dodged Xiao Wendy's fierce attack and fled to the top of the pool. He quickly flew towards the end of this space, filled with birds chirping and fragrant flowers. The two of them flew at high speed for more than 2 hours. They flew to the end of this space and found a multi-edged stone that emitted an illusory light. Illusions stone. Looking at this stone, Yi Chen Feng saw a large number of illusions appear before his eyes. He hurriedly controlled the illusion Dao intent and poured it into his eyes, dispelling the illusion power that invaded his head. Meanwhile, the enraged Xiao Wendy flew over and unleashed palm lights that could topple mountains and overturn seas to attack Yi Chen Feng as she vented the rage in her heart. "Xiao Wendy, stop messing around. Otherwise, both of us will be in danger." Yi Chen Feng dodged Xiao Wendy's ferocious attacks as he shouted, "I can spare you, but you've seen me naked, so you have to compensate me." After ferociously attacking for a while, Xiao Wendy's rage had eased up slightly, and she glared angrily at Yi Chen Feng as she spoke. "Xiao Wendy, I'm a person with principles. Don't make any unreasonable requests," Yi Chen Feng warned with a vigilant expression. "If you make unreasonable requests, I'm too lazy to look even if you strip naked. I want the ancestors' rebirth heart, so you have to give it to me." Xiao Wendy glanced coldly at Yi Chen Feng as she curled her lips and spoke with disdain. "All right, I can give you the rebirth heart, but you can't fight for the other things with me." Yi Chen Feng pondered for a moment before speaking. "You owe me the rebirth heart. As for the other things, it depends on my mood." Xiao Wendy was unwilling to give up. Sigh. Yi Chen Feng discovered that reasoning with a woman was his biggest mistake. He helplessly sighed in his heart and compromised. However, after refining the Empyrean blood essence, the rebirth heart was no longer that attractive to Yi Chen Feng. What he truly wanted was a map of the central continent sky beyond. "All right, let's not waste any more time. I'm afraid that if we delay for too long, the true demon tribe will arrive at Xingluo Sky City." Yi Chen Feng looked at Xiao Wendy, who had a victorious smile on her face, and urged her. After speaking, Yi Chen Feng and Xiao Wendy summoned their Gu Dao Treasure's Vermilion Bird Cauldron and Heavenly Mountain Dao Talisman, and attacked the huge illusion stone. The reason why they attacked the illusion stone was because they discovered that it was a formation core. If they could break the illusion stone, they could leave this place. Boom, boom, boom. After being attacked by the two Gu Dao treasure, the illusion stone emitted a large amount of illusory light. It corroded Yi Chen Feng and Xiao Wendy's soul seas and confused their minds. However, Yi Chen Feng and Xiao Wendy were dragons and phoenixes among men. Their soul spirits were abnormally strong. They were able to resist the illusory attacks of the illusion stone and control the two Gu Dao treasure to continue attacking. After about an hour, the illusion stone couldn't withstand the two Gu Dao treasures' continuous attacks. It was covered in cracks. Illusory energy surged out of the illusion stone like a tidal wave and crazily invaded their minds. It created a large amount of illusions in their minds. After being corroded by a large amount of illusory energy, Yi Qinfeng's mind was filled with scenes of slaughter. However, in just 2 breaths of time, Yi Qinfeng, who had cultivated his illusory Tao intent to the 9th level, was able to dispel the illusions. Could it be that erotic scenes appeared in Xiao Wendy's mind? When Yi Qinfeng turned his head to look at Xiao Wendy, who was being corroded by the increasing illusory energy, he noticed that her cheeks were rosy and her red lips were slightly parted. She seemed to be resisting some sort of temptation, and he revealed a trace of curiosity. Boom! More and more cracks appeared on the illusion stone. In the end, under the attacks of the 2 Gu Dao treasure, the illusion stone shattered. The illusory energy that corroded their soul seized disappeared, and a spatial exit appeared. Looking at Xiao Wendy, whose eyes were watery and delicate, Yi Qinfeng had countless thoughts. He revealed a faint smile and asked curiously, Xiao Wendy, what scene appeared in your mind earlier? Why is your face so red? You pervert, what does this have to do with you? Xiao Wendy glanced at Yi Qinfeng with a charming expression before leaving him with a beautiful back view. She broke through the spatial exit that was like a black hole and disappeared. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 9:57. Tombs. How could there be 3 tombs here? Yi Qinfeng and Xia Dai Butterfly passed through the spatial exit and entered a gloomy and terrifying space. In this space, there were 3 tens of meters tall tombs that were completely black and gave people a kind of oppressive feeling. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test in front of the tombs. There were 3 huge tombstones. On the tombstones, there were respectively written in golden characters, Young Star Emperor, Middle-aged Star Emperor, and Peak Star Emperor. Young Star Emperor, Middle-aged Star Emperor, and Peak Star Emperor. Could it be that these 3 tombs represented the different star emperors of different periods of time? Looking at the golden characters on the tombstones, Yi Qinfeng slightly frowned and muttered to himself, you shouldn't be wrong. These 3 tombs represent the tests of 3 periods of time, and only by passing the ancestors' test at his peak would one have the qualifications to inherit his most powerful inheritance. Xiao Dai Butterfly nodded and said. After saying that, she fearlessly walked towards the Peak Star Emperor's tombstone, preparing to accept the most difficult test. Yi Qinfeng also didn't hesitate and followed behind Xia Dai. He broke through the restriction at the entrance of the Peak Star Emperor's tombstone and walked into the gloomy and terrifying tombstone where one couldn't even see their own fingers. Holding the Moonlight Stone, Yi Qinfeng and Xiao Chan walked to the front hall of the mausoleum. Then, they saw 2 astral formation diagrams covering several kilometers of space. Furthermore, 2 old men wearing astral pattern robes stood in the middle of the formation diagrams with their hands behind their backs. They raised their heads slightly and looked at the sky. Although these 2 old men didn't really exist, they still gave Yi Qinfeng a mountain-like feeling when they stood there. It was as if they could make heaven and earth change with just a wave of their hand. Feeling Yi Qinfeng and Xia Dai's arrival, the 2 old men withdrew their gazes from the sky and looked at Yi Qinfeng and Xia Dai Butterfly. When Yi Qinfeng met the old man's eyes that were as deep as the ocean, he felt as if his eyes could see through him. It was as if all the secrets on his body could not escape his eyes. Xiao Wendy looked at the 2 old men and revealed a trace of excitement. Her knees softened and she knelt on the ground. She sincerely kowtowed to the 2 old men 3 times before standing up and slowly walking toward a star array diagram. Buzz walking into the star pattern formation. The entire formation was activated. Endless starlight poured out, rushing into the clouds and swallowing Xia Dai within. Xiao Wendy began to take the test of the Peak Star Emperor. Yi Qinfeng didn't hesitate. He walked to another star pattern formation without fear and accepted the test of the peak star emperor. Cultivating for more than 30 years and becoming a level 4 beast emperor. You're a genius. Not bad. The old man in the starry robe with his hands behind his back looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was walking into the formation. His deep eyes shone brightly as he understood Yi Chunfeng's bone age and strength. He couldn't stop praising him. Senior, what does this junior need to do to pass? Looking at the old man in the starry robe who looked like a star emperor, Yi Chunfeng respectfully asked, Defeat me and you'll pass, but I will suppress my strength to the level 4 beast emperor realm. I won't take advantage of the difference in realm. The old man in the starry robe said without a trace of emotion. Good. Hearing that the old man in the starry robe would suppress his realm, Yi Chunfeng was relieved. A deafening dragon roar resounded. 1,000 meters long blood dragon emperor appeared and circled above his head. Its terrifying dragon might shook the heavens and earth. Very good. You've given me another surprise. It seems that you have a chance to defeat me. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's spiritual beast blood dragon emperor, the old man in the starry robe's eyes shone even brighter. He lightly stepped forward, and a powerful star Dao will gushed out of his body like stormy waves and bombarded Yi Chunfeng. Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist. The old man in the starry robe released his star Dao will. Yi Chunfeng decisively merged with the blood dragon emperor, and his strength skyrocketed. He blasted out a punch that was like a blazing sun, carrying unparalleled power and the 5 elements Dao will. Boom! The air exploded, and the airflow surged. The star Dao will and the great sun Heavenly Fire Fist collided. The explosive power was extremely terrifying, and dense water ripples appeared in the air. 3 absolutes of water restriction, illusory dragon water shadow. Seeing that the great sun Heavenly Fire Fist began to crack under the attack of the star Dao will, Yi Chunfeng's hands quickly twisted. The 5 elements Dao will erupted again, turning into an aggressive water dragon that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It entered the endless starlight. Crack! Under the attack of the illusory dragon water shadow, the rapidly flowing star Dao pattern was torn apart. The illusory dragon water shadow roared wildly and bombarded the old man with unparalleled power. As the illusory dragon water shadow approached, the old man in the starry robe covered his right hand. He compressed the vast star Dao will to the extreme and hit the illusory dragon water shadow with his palm, breaking it. The test of the peak star emperor was indeed extraordinary. Although the old man in the starry robe had suppressed his cultivation level, his comprehension of Dao will, talent, and strength had far surpassed many geniuses. It was indeed not that easy to defeat him. After witnessing the old man's strength and control of Dao will, Yi Chunfeng knew that it would be more difficult to defeat him than he had imagined. However, Yi Chunfeng intended to compete with the old man in the starry robe. He wanted to know who was more monstrous between himself and the peak star emperor in the same cultivation level, so he didn't use any treasures. The 5 elements Dao will, life and death Dao will, heaven and earth Dao will. Yi Chunfeng took the initiative to attack. The 3 fused Dao wills gushed out of his body and merged together. Like a raging river of Dao will, it rolled in the void and bombarded the old man in the starry robe. 3 fused Dao wills, and all 3 Dao wills had been cultivated to the 8th heavenly layer or above. The old man in the starry robe was moved for the first time. He didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's cultivation of Dao will to be so deep. He immediately controlled the star Dao will to transform into a vortex of stars to resist with all his might. When the 4 Dao wills collided, a terrifying power of Dao will immediately spilled out. It swept out in all directions like a tsunami, attacking both their bodies. Although the old man in the starry robe had a deep cultivation of star Dao will, he couldn't resist the attack of Yi Chunfeng's 3 fused Dao wills. Cracks appeared on the surface of the vortex of stars. Seeing that the vortex of stars was about to break, the old man in the starry robe fluttered. A large number of star patterns shot out of his body and merged into the vortex of stars. A profound star Dao diagram appeared. Not only did it resist the attack of the Dao will river, it also continuously shattered it. In the end, the old man in the starry robe borrowed the might of the star Dao diagram to break Yi Chunfeng's Dao will attack. Junior, your innate talent and comprehension of Dao were the highest I've ever seen. However, you're not my match with just 3 fused Dao wills. You'd better use other methods. Otherwise, you'll definitely be the one to lose. The old man in the starry robe didn't follow up with another attack. He looked at Yi Chunfeng with a deep gaze and spoke slowly. Senior, you spoke too early. Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly. The sword soul flew out of his soul's sea and revolved around his body. In the next moment, the sword's soul trembled. A sword diagram that was filled with Dao patterns appeared. Numerous sword Dao patterns that pulsed out incessantly sliced through the space, riddling it with holes. Sword soul, you actually majored in the sword soul? The old man in the starry robe revealed a surprised expression. It was very difficult to find a genius in the sword Dao who had condensed a sword soul among a million people. Looks like you're indeed qualified to inherit the Star Emperor's Nirvana heart. As he spoke, the old man in the starry robe injected all the star power in his body into the star Dao diagram. He controlled the Dao diagram that was rapidly revolving. With the power to annihilate everything, it blasted towards Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You'll be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 958. Sword Dao Diagram, Myriad Sword Daos. The old man attacked with the star Dao diagram. Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the sword Dao diagram floating above his head to meet the attack with all his might. Streaks of sword-based Dao inscriptions and dazzling star inscriptions collided with each other with ear-piercing sounds. The intense collision and battle formed a storm of Dao that could topple mountains and overturn seas, engulfing Yi Chunfeng and the star-robed elder within. Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful physical body to defend himself as he was engulfed by the billowing storm of will. He took a step forward, and a matrix suddenly appeared. The incomparably sharp sword-based Dao pattern continuously tore through the storm of will as it closed in on the star-robed elder. When Yi Chunfeng's fist collided with the star-robed elder's palm, Yi Chunfeng's 25 million gene of force exploded. The powerful force caused the star-robed elder's body to tremble as he uncontrollably retreated. After forcing the star-robed old man back with one punch, Yi Chunfeng controlled Tu Ku's way of the sword to create the star Dao diagram while using the sword steps to chase after him. He attacked the star-robed old man with all his strength, determined to defeat him. After realizing that Yi Chunfeng's strength was far superior to his, the old man's hands moved like flowing water and formed a circle in front of him. He mobilized the momentum of heaven and earth to resist Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attack. Ruthless Dao of heaven. When a star-robed old man dispelled the absolute power attack, more than 20 heavenly Dao inscriptions shot out of Yi Chunfeng's fist. Like an apocalyptic disaster, they howled as they struck the star-robed old man's momentum. Crack! Heaven Dao, the foundation of all Daos. After being attacked by Yi Chunfeng's heaven Dao, merciless Dao, the momentum of heaven and earth that the old man had mobilized was immediately broken. A huge black hole appeared in the circle that looked like the revolution of heaven and earth. Extreme Dao of life and death. After forcefully breaking through the elder's attack, Yi Chunfeng struck out with his right palm. 90 Dao patterns of life and death gathered to form a terrifying Dao disc, unleashing boundless destructive power. It passed through the black hole in the circle and ruthlessly smashed into the elder's body. The elder was directly pushed back dozens of meters, and cracks appeared on his chest. When the old man was pushed back by Yi Chunfeng's palm strike, the star Dao diagram that he controlled with his mind could not withstand the ferocity of the attack. The sword Dao diagram, controlled by the sword soul, directly shattered. Senior, I should have won the contest of Dao intent, right? Yi Chuanfeng did not pursue the old man after pushing back the old man and shattering the sword Dao diagram. Instead, he looked at the old man whose aura was a little chaotic. You won the contest of Dao will, but this doesn't count as you truly defeating me. I still have tricks on my sleeve that I haven't used yet. The star-robed old man took a deep breath and said with a neutral expression. In the blink of an eye, the crack on his chest was repaired by a strand of formidable Dao insight. Then, please give it your all. Yi Chuanfeng said. Star God bloodline, ignite. A powerful bloodline power erupted from the old man's body. The terrifying power of the diagram also fused into his body and quickly gathered into an illusory figure. Although this figure was very blurry, it revealed a domineering aura that could rival the world. It made people unable to have a trace of battle intent when facing it. The Star God bloodline. The Star Emperor was indeed the most legendary figure on the Xingluo continent. This bloodline was unprecedented. Just a strand of his blood had such power. Yi Chuanfeng took a deep breath when he felt the suppression of the Star God bloodline. He ignited his divine demon bloodline and transformed into a crimson divine demon body. He greatly increased his physical strength to fight back. There's indeed a powerful bloodline flowing in your body. Today, let's see whose bloodline is stronger. As he spoke, the starlight figure behind the old man became clear. It carried a shocking power and the might of the diagram. It swept through the void and blasted towards Yi Chuanfeng, breaking all techniques with strength. As the starlight figure attacked, Yi Chuanfeng's bones and tendons sounded together. More than 150 million pounds of strength erupted like an erupting volcano. It tore apart the endless starlight and blocked the killing move. Boom, boom, boom. After breaking the starlight figure's attack with a punch, Yi Chuanfeng used the sword steps to pursue. He relied on his absolute strength to attack continuously and fought fiercely with the starlight figure. What great strength! Just how did he cultivate? Although the old man was not a real life, he had extremely high intelligence. He revealed a shocked expression when he felt that Yi Chuanfeng could explode with more than 100 million pounds of strength with each punch. After cultivating for more than 30 years, he was a grade 4 beast emperor. He had cultivated several Daos to perfection, and his physical strength was more than 100 million pounds. When did the Xingluo continent give birth to such an unprecedented talent? The old man became more and more shocked. He realized that Yi Chuanfeng was a bottomless pit. He was far stronger than the Star Emperor of the same realm. He could not force out his true strength. 9 starlight swords. His Star God bloodline was gradually being suppressed. The star-robed old man continued to unleash his killing move. The starlight figure transformed into 9 dazzling light swords that carried exceptional sharpness as they slashed toward Yi Chuanfeng. Each of the 9 starlight swords was branded with Daos. They were very powerful. Even a grade 6 beast emperor would find it difficult to block them, let alone a grade 5 beast emperor. However, Yi Chuanfeng had transformed into his divine demon body. His physical defense was too terrifying. In addition, the Sword Dao diagram formed by the Sword Soul was very powerful. He used the Sword Dao diagram to block the old man's killing move. After the first attack, the old man continued to use the 9 starlight swords to suppress Yi Chuanfeng's attack with all his strength. However, this time, Yi Chuanfeng did not take the old man's attack head-on. A sword light flashed under his feet. He dodged the 9 starlight swords in an instant and launched a counterattack at the old man. Astral Palm. As Yi Chuanfeng closed in, the old man quickly sent out a palm. A large amount of Daos flowed in the astral palm, imperceptibly increasing the attack power of this palm. Boundless heavenly sword. Yi Chuanfeng did not dodge the old man's palm. He used his body, which was comparable to a high-grade Dao artifact, to take the attack head-on. At the same time, he slashed out a sword that was like a boundless Daos. It hit the old man's body and sent him flying. A deep sword scar appeared on the old man's body. If it wasn't for the peerless power hidden in the old man's body and the shocking power of the array diagram, Yi Chuanfeng's sword would have split him in half. After gaining the upper hand with one strike, Yi Chunfeng continued to unleash his tide-like attacks. The will of life and death, the will of heaven and earth, and the will of five elemental Tao surged like a rising tide. The power of the great Tao kept increasing as it attacked the star-robed elder, worsening his injuries. Star Tao diagram. His attacks were completely suppressed by Yi Chunfeng. The severely injured old man moved his hands quickly and forcefully condensed the Star Tao diagram. He formed a Star Tao diagram to take on Yi Chunfeng's attacks head-on. However, Yi Chunfeng's attacks were too ferocious. The Star Tao diagram that the old man condensed couldn't withstand Yi Chunfeng's attacks at all. His arms were even shattered by the force of 100 million Jin. After about half an hour, the trajectory of the star-robed old man's attack was broken. Yi Chunfeng's punch, which exceeded 150 million caddies of force and was infused with several Tao wills, landed on the star-robed old man's body continuously, sending him flying and crashing into the rising formation wall. Junior, you have won. You have defeated a peak stage Astral Emperor and passed the test. However, if you want to obtain the Astral Emperor's inheritance, you still have to go through the test of the Astral Emperor's clone. Only by obtaining his approval can you inherit the strongest inheritance of the Astral Emperor. However, I have high hopes for you. All right, I will now send you into the ultimate space of the Imperial Mausoleum. I wish you good luck. After speaking, the old man activated the power of the array and sent Yi Chunfeng to the ultimate space of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 959. Xiao Wendy has not come out yet. Looks like her test is much harder than mine. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. After entering the ultimate space of the Imperial Tomb, Yi Chunfeng did not sense Xiao Wendy's aura. He guessed that she was still accepting challenges. However, Yi Chunfeng was not worried about her. With Xiao Wendy's talent and strength, a level 5 Beast Emperor at the peak of Star Emperor would definitely not be her opponent. Yi Chunfeng sat cross-legged on the ground and adjusted his condition. When he had adjusted his condition to the best, Xiao Wendy still did not appear. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng did not waste any more time. He stepped on a small path paved with dark stones and slowly walked into this dark space. Not long after, a tall and straight man in a black martial arts suit appeared in front of him, blocking his path. The moment he saw the man in black, Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank into the most dangerous pinhole shape. He could feel a strong threat of death from him. As Yi Chunfeng stared at the black-robed man from afar, the black-robed man slowly turned around. Two rays of light shot out from his eyes like lightning, drilling into Yi Chunfeng's eyes. He felt as if his mind was being devoured. What a terrifying gaze. He should be the slaughter doppelganger of the Star Emperor. Looking at the man in black's terrifying gaze, Yi Chunfeng could feel a boundless killing intent. It felt like he was being stared at by the most poisonous snake in the world. All the hair on his body stood up. Junior, if you can make it this far, it means that your talent is outstanding. I am your final challenge. If you can defeat me, the Master's inheritance will be yours. If you fail, I will kill you. The slaughter doppelganger said emotionlessly. His voice was filled with killing intent. Emperor Sky Sword. Feeling the terror of the slaughter doppelganger, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to be careless. He summoned the Emperor Sky Sword and stood on the spot in silence. Roar. The slaughter doppelganger suddenly raised its head and roared. An inhuman roar came from its mouth and pierced through the sky. Boundless murderous intent was released from his body. Terrifying energy surged like a tidal wave and soared into the sky. He was like an invincible god of death. He took out a dazzling Taoist sword with 7 gemstones embedded in it and pointed it at Yi Chunfeng. Mid-grade Tao artifact. Sensing the grade of the starlight Tao sword in the slaughter avatar's hand, Yi Chunfeng's expression became even more solemn. He knew that he had to give it his all in this battle. Otherwise, he might be seriously injured or killed by Star Emperor's slaughter doppelganger. A tearing sound rang out. Just as Yi Chun-feng was preparing for battle, the slaughtered doppelganger moved. He stabbed out with his sword, causing the space to tremble. The boundless sword might slashed out a sword scar in the space, slashing towards Yi Chun-feng with astonishing speed. Sword spirit fuse. Facing such a lethal attack, Yi Chun-feng did not dare to be careless. He quickly fused his sword soul into the Emperor Heaven's sword and welcomed the attack. Wong. When the tips of the two great Dao swords clashed, boundless sword patterns surged out. The terrifying sword might tore thousands of holes in the space. What powerful strength! Feeling the rebounding force coming from the Emperor Heaven's sword, Yi Chunfeng's expression changed slightly. He quickly controlled the power of Dao, intent to increase the attacking power of this sword. Suddenly, two sword lights shot out from the slaughtered doppelganger's eyes and pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's eyes at an extremely fast speed, distracting Yi Chunfeng's attack. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Facing the slaughtered doppelganger, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to give it his all. He spat out the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, which was filled with wanton soul light, to shatter the slaughtered doppelganger's sword light and attack the slaughtered doppelganger. Gu Dao Treasure. Sensing the grade of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, the slaughtered doppelganger quickly struck out with his palm. The terrifying left palm fiercely imprinted on the surface of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, letting out a resonant sound. To use his palm to block the attack of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, this slaughtered doppelganger had a terrifying body. Seeing the Vermilion Bird Cauldron being pushed back by the slaughtered doppelganger, Yi Chunfeng's eyebrows twitched. He multitasked and summoned the Dao Treasure Go Slaughter Array diagram, wanting to use the power of the Dao Treasure to suppress the slaughtered doppelganger. There are quite a few treasures, but they are useless against me. The slaughtered doppelganger quickly pulled out his sword. With a flash of his body, he attacked rapidly like a spinning top. Streaks of sharp sword lights shot out and crushed the array patterns released by the Go Slaughter Array diagram like a violent storm, forcing the Vermilion Bird Cauldron back. 7 Swords of Judgment, Sky-Shattering, Destruction, Judgment. The slaughtered doppelganger attacked the Vermilion Bird Cauldron with all his might. While the Go Slaughter Array diagram was attacking the slaughtered doppelganger, Yi Chunfeng flew into the sky and continuously executed the 7 Swords of Judgment to attack the slaughtered doppelganger, wanting to suppress him. Streaks of shocking swords swept across the heavens and earth, bringing with them endless destructive powers. They were like spatial cracks that tore through the void space. Their divine prowess shook the heavens as they continuously slashed at the slaughtered doppelganger. As the slaughtered doppelganger's strength increased, the grade of the Emperor Heaven's sword also increased. The attacking prowess of the 7 Swords of Judgment that Yi Chunfeng executed became even more terrifying. The terrifying sword prowess caused a vacuum region to appear around the slaughtered doppelganger. It was as if the entire space could not withstand his attacks and could collapse and be destroyed at any moment. His attacking prowess is not bad, but he is still a little lacking if he wants to defeat me. Relying on his indestructible body to withstand the attacks of the 7 Swords of Judgment, the slaughtered doppelganger quickly slashed out a sword. With the terrifying aura of mountains and rivers, it slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng stepped in the void and dodged the slaughtered doppelganger's counterattack. Then, he executed the Emperor Heaven's sword art and continued to attack. As Yi Chunfeng attacked with all his might, his sword soul turned into a sword Dao diagram, continuously increasing Yi Chunfeng's attacking prowess. As the speed of Yi Chunfeng's sword attacks became faster and faster, streaks of shocking sword lights were like rolling waves in the sea. They became stronger and stronger, seemingly endless. Star Sword. Withstanding Yi Chunfeng's storm-like attacks, the slaughtered doppelganger slashed back. Its sword aura soared into the sky, and its aura engulfed the mountains and rivers. That boundless black sword light seemed as if it was going to destroy this part of the world. It directly broke apart Yi Chunfeng's consecutive killer moves. What a terrifying sword attack! Facing such a powerful sword attack, Yi Chunfeng felt as if the end of the world had arrived. He stepped into the sword and dodged rapidly. His continuous attacks were also completely disrupted by this sword attack. Dragon's bloodline burn. The slaughtered doppelganger's abilities were beyond imagination. Yi Chunfeng immediately burned his dragon's bloodline, increasing his soul power by 7 times as he continued to attack. With the increase in soul power, the prowess of Yi Chunfeng's Dao techniques increased exponentially. In addition to the attacks of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and the ghost-killing array diagram, the Slaughter Doppelganger was engulfed by the terrifying attacks. Amidst the destructive attacks, the Slaughter Doppelganger was not afraid at all. Its attacks were not interrupted, and it retaliated with ease. It sent the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, which was like a meteor, flying time and time again. It also tore apart the ghost-killing array diagram and Yi Chunfeng's attacks. Extreme Tao of life and death. His relentless attacks were fruitless. Yi Chunfeng stepped into the sword and tore apart the destructive storm. He closed in on the slaughtered doppelganger. The terrifying Tao of life and death gathered in his right palm, condensing into a Tao disc of life and death. He ruthlessly smashed it at the slaughtered doppelganger's chest. Boom! After being struck by Yi Chunfeng's extreme Tao of life and death, the slaughtered doppelganger was shaken by 3 steps. However, its physical defense was too terrifying. It instantly stabilized its body and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng. Green Heaven's Secret Art. Since his relentless attacks were fruitless, Yi Chunfeng used another trump card. Surging Heaven Tao power gushed out of his body and rapidly increased his strength. Green Heaven's Secret Art. You are from the Heaven race. The moment Yi Chunfeng executed the Green Heaven's Secret Art, the slaughtered doppelganger revealed a chilling killing intent and misunderstood his identity. In the next moment, the slaughtered doppelganger's body released boundless killing intent, which caused the heaven and earth to tremble. Heaven race bastard, the Star Monarch's inheritance is not something you can touch. Go and die. The slaughtered doppelganger did not give Yi Chunfeng a chance to explain. With a shocking killing intent, it launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 960. Kacha. The Slaughter Avatar's Starlight Tao sword clashed with Yi Chunfeng's Emperor Celestial Sword. The powerful collision force forcefully tore apart the dark void. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test, net don't misunderstand. I am not from the Heaven race. Yi Chunfeng defended against the Slaughter clone's ferocious attacks, as he explained. You can fool others, but you can't fool me. The Green Heaven art is an ancient inheritance that the Heaven race has never passed down. You knowing the Green Heaven art is enough to prove your identity. The Slaughter clone did not believe Yi Chunfeng's explanation at all. It continued to attack with the mid-grade Tao artifact, Starlight Tao Sword. The ferocious sword aura enveloped Yi Chunfeng and was determined to kill him. I obtained the Green Heaven art from the Heaven Tomb on the 9th level of Xingluo Heaven City. Furthermore, I met the Star Emperor's other avatar in the 9 levels of heaven and obtained the hexagonal astrolabe from him. It was also because of the hexagonal astrolabe that summoned the 6 keys to the Imperial Tomb that I was able to enter this place. Yi Chunfeng defended against the Slaughter clone's ferocious attacks as he continued to explain. Master's inheritance is no small matter. I will not let anyone with problems go. Therefore, no matter what you say, you will not be able to change your fate. The Slaughter clone said in a rigid manner. It had no intention of slowing down its attacks. That means you are determined to kill me. Yi Chunfeng asked in annoyance. You will definitely die. The Slaughter clone said in a chilling tone. It looked like it would not rest until it killed Yi Chunfeng. All right, since that is the case, don't blame me for destroying you. Yi Chunfeng could not be bothered to talk nonsense with the Slaughter clone. This was because he knew that it was useless even if he talked until his mouth was cracked. The only way was to kill it. You have finally revealed your foxtail. However, you are still far from being able to destroy me. As the Slaughter clone spoke, the killing intent in its body surged to another level. The Starlight Dao sword in its hand opened and closed like mercury, bombarding Yi Chunfeng and forcing him to retreat. True Dragon Transformation. When Yi Chunfeng's attacks were completely countered by the Slaughter doppelganger, he decisively ignited his dragon heart and the power of the dragon in his body, transforming into an extraordinarily mighty true dragon that roared madly as it crushed the mercury-like sword gleams one after another, crashing into the Slaughter doppelganger's body and forcibly forcing it to retreat. However, the Slaughter doppelganger's body was too tough. It was suspected to be at the level of Gudao treasure. Yi Chunfeng's attack in the form of a true dragon only managed to push it back. It was unable to injure it. Blue Sky Seal. The Slaughter doppelganger was knocked back, and Yi Chunfeng followed up with his sword steps. He circulated the Green Heaven secret art and mobilized the Heavenly Dao. The three fused Dao intents gushed out of his body at the same time, transforming into a huge seal that interweaved with natural patterns. It pressed forward and slammed into the Slaughter doppelganger's chest, knocking him back again. Blue Sky Seal, what do you have to explain now? The Slaughter doppelganger was the Star Emperor's attack doppelganger. It had fought with the Heaven Race experts many times, so it was very familiar with the Green Heaven secret art and the Blue Sky Seal. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng even knew the Blue Sky Seal, its eyes shot out dense killing intent, completely igniting the killing intent in its body. A killing intent as vast as the ocean gushed out from his body, and his strength had reached its limit at this moment. Gudao treasure. This Slaughter doppelganger was actually a Gudao treasure. When the Slaughter doppelganger revealed its strength without holding back, Extreme's God-Eater brain finally discovered its secret. It was not refined from a living body, but a Gudao treasure-level doppelganger. After knowing the truth of the Slaughter doppelganger, Yi Chunfeng felt even more troubled. Although he was powerful, had astonishing attack power, and had many treasures, other than the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, he did not have the ability to destroy the Gudao treasure. And the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus was a supreme saint treasure. Every time it was used, it would consume a lot of soul power. With his strength, using it once would drain all the soul power in his body. It seemed like this was the only way. In a flash, Yi Chunfeng thought of a way to destroy the Slaughter doppelganger. However, although the method was feasible, it was very difficult to execute. He had to first crack the Slaughter doppelganger's head. Stun art. The Slaughter doppelganger, whose attack power had reached the limit, attacked. Yi Chunfeng's soul power exploded, forming a terrifying stun power that smashed towards the Slaughter doppelganger like a heavy hammer, directly attacking its soul. However, it was unable to break through the defense of its head. As expected, the defense of the Slaughter doppelganger's head was terrifying. The stun art could not break through its defense. After the stun art failed, Yi Chunfeng immediately used the sword steps to dodge the Slaughter doppelganger's attack. However, the Slaughter doppelganger's attack speed was too fast. Yi Chunfeng could not guard against it and was in a difficult situation. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Suppress. At the crucial moment, the Vermilion Bird Cauldron descended from the sky and fiercely suppressed the Slaughter doppelganger's head. It forced the Slaughter doppelganger to counterattack with its left palm and slowed down its attack speed. Cosmos Sword Formation. Taking advantage of this opportunity, 18 ancient swords flew out. Under the guidance of the Sword Spirit, they condensed into the Cosmos Sword Formation. The Slaughter doppelganger was trapped in the Sword Formation and crazily attacked. Streaks of Cosmos swords slashed across, leaving a string of dazzling sparks on the Slaughter doppelganger's body. However, the Slaughter doppelganger's defense was too terrifying. The 4 low-grade Dao swords could not leave a sword mark on its body, let alone injure it. Horizontal Sword Slash. After blocking the attacks of the Cosmos Sword Formation, the Slaughter doppelganger's entire body suddenly merged with the Starlight Dao sword in its hand and turned into a sharp light sword. It cut through all obstacles and forcefully tore apart the Cosmos Sword Formation. The sword pierced towards Yi Qinfeng, who it had locked onto. Sword spirit ignition, boundless heavenly sword. As the slaughter doppelganger attacked, Yi Qinfeng did not dodge. He quickly ignited the Emperor's Sky sword spirit and slashed out the boundless sword. A large amount of Tao intent revolved around the tip of the Emperor's Sky sword. It was like a boundless Tao that clashed with the horizontal sword slash. In an instant, the entire space was flipped open by a violent shockwave. In a wanton storm, Yi Qinfeng felt a terrifying force penetrating his arm through the Emperor's Sky sword. It shook until his arm went numb, and the blood in his body started to churn. Vermilion bird cauldron, smash for me. As his body was pushed back by the slaughter doppelganger, Yi Qinfeng controlled the vermilion bird cauldron with his intent to suppress it. As the slaughter doppelganger clashed with the vermilion bird cauldron, the purple beginning's sacred thunder shot out of Yi Qinfeng's mouth and bombarded the slaughter doppelganger's body, forcefully pushing him back 3 steps. Sigh. Even the purple beginning's sacred thunder was unable to break through his body. Although the slaughter doppelganger was pushed back by the purple beginning's sacred thunder, it was not injured at all. This made Yi Qinfeng even more difficult to deal with. Furthermore, the 9 Dragons Jade Annulus was his final trump card. Yi Qinfeng had to find the best opportunity to attack. This was because once the attack failed, the slaughter doppelganger would have the chance to severely injure or even kill him. Cosmos Sword Formation, Trap. When the slaughter doppelganger was pushed back, Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the Cosmos Sword Formation to trap him within. He then continuously released the purple beginning's sacred thunder to attack his body. Break. Relying on his powerful body to withstand the attacks of the Cosmos Sword Formation and the purple beginning's sacred thunder, the slaughter doppelganger forcibly tore open the Cosmos Sword Formation. However, in the instant that he tore open the Cosmos Ring, Yi Qinfeng brought out the 9 Dragons Jade Annulus. He poured almost all of his soul power into the 9 Dragons Jade Annulus, condensing it into a wild dragon that bombarded his head. Sensing the fearsomeness of the wild dragon, the slaughter doppelganger instinctively covered his head with his arms and took the attack head-on. Boom! An earth-shattering boom rang out. The slaughter doppelganger, who was protecting his head with his arms, was sent flying by the wild dragon formed by the 9 Dragons Jade Annulus. He crashed heavily into the Cosmos Sword Formation. His arms were also shattered by the 9 Dragons Jade Annulus. However, because he was well protected, his head was unharmed. All of Yi Qinfeng's efforts had been for naught. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 961. The 9 Dragon Jade Annulus failed. Yi Qinfeng's heart sank as he looked at the slaughter doppelganger, whose arms were covered in cracks, but whose head was unharmed. If he could destroy the slaughter doppelganger's head, Yi Qinfeng would be able to devour the slaughter doppelganger's soul and control it. But now his plan had failed, and he had used up almost all of his soul power. Although he had the ancient jade peaches of immortality, he only had 5 of them left. Each of them was equivalent to a life, and he did not want to waste them unless he had no other choice. Furthermore, the slaughter doppelganger was on guard, and it would be more difficult for him to control the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus to attack him. Gulp! Yi Qinfeng raised his head and drank an entire bottle of returning heaven water. As he recovered his soul power, he controlled the Cosmos Sword Formation to trap the slaughter doppelganger. The slaughter doppelganger's arms were injured by the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, but it did not affect its attacks. Under its ferocious attacks with the Starlight Dao sword, the Cosmos Sword Formation was torn apart again. Qinggu Qiu, come out and help me. At this critical moment, Yi Qinfeng summoned Qinggu Qiu, who had been bitterly cultivating in the Cosmos realm, and ordered him to attack the slaughter doppelganger with all his might to buy time for himself to recover. Despicable heavenly race bastard, you really have a helper. Today, I will destroy you. Sensing the power of the heavens in Qinggu Qiu's body, the slaughter doppelganger went berserk. Wielding the starlight Dao sword, the slaughtered doppelganger attacked Qinggu Qiu with all his might. Endless sword silhouettes shot out and clashed fiercely with Qinggu Qiu. Qinggu Qiu was powerful enough to kill a Class 6 combat Beast Emperor, but the slaughtered doppelganger's defense was too strong. Qinggu Qiu circulated the green heaven secret art, formed the blue sky seal, and used the heavenly Dao disc to bombard his body, but could not hurt him at all. Qinggu Qiu was in a difficult position under the slaughter doppelganger's all-out attacks. Yi Chunfeng took advantage of the limited time to absorb the returning heaven water while controlling the life Dao rune to recover his soul power. Just as he was about to go all out, ripples appeared in space, and Xia Wendy appeared with blood dripping from the corner of her mouth. "Summer butterfly, come help me," Yi Chunfeng shouted at Xia Wendy, who was bleeding from the corner of her mouth and whose breathing was somewhat chaotic. Slaughter doppelganger, the ancestor's slaughtered doppelganger Xia Wendy's eyes lit up as she watched the battle between Qinggu Qiu and Slaughter Avatar from afar. According to the introduction passed down in the ancient books of the Xia family, the slaughter doppelganger was made by the Star Emperor with an extremely powerful Gudao treasure. Not only was its defense amazing, but its attack was also terrifying. "Yi Chunfeng, who is he?" Xia Wendy asked as she looked at Qinggu Qiu, who was dodging the attacks of the slaughter avatars. "He is my friend and has always been cultivating in the universe realm." Qinggu Qiu's identity was rather special, so Yi Chunfeng did not state it clearly. "Yi Chunfeng, tell your friend to retreat. I have a way to subdue this slaughter doppelganger. Leave him to me," Xia Wendy said as she looked deeply at Qinggu Qiu. "All right." Although Yi Chunfeng also wanted to subdue the Star Emperor's slaughter doppelganger, the price was too high. After pondering for a moment, he decided not to fight with Xia Wendy and instead called Qinggu Qiu back. Star Dao diagram suppression. When Qinggu Qiu returned, Xia Wendy ignored the exhaustion of her body and flew toward the slaughter doppelganger. She formed a Star Dao diagram and suppressed the slaughter doppelganger. "Star Dao diagram, who are you?" Sensing the familiar aura from Xia Wendy, the slaughter doppelganger used its cracked palm to block the Star Dao diagram's attack. "I am the descendant of the Star Emperor's ancestor." Xia Wendy reported her identity. "Descendant of the Star Emperor, what proof do you have?" The slaughter doppelganger calmed down a little and looked at her with a sharp gaze. "My blood is the best proof." Xia Wendy bit her finger and squeezed out a drop of essence blood. She flicked it at the slaughter doppelganger. The slaughter doppelganger did not dodge when it saw the blood essence flying towards it. Instead, it opened its mouth and swallowed the blood essence into its stomach. "The same bloodline power. You are indeed Master's direct descendant. Let's work together and kill those two sky race bastards. I'll take you to Master's corpse." After confirming Xia Wendy's bloodline inheritance, the slaughtered doppelganger no longer had any ill intentions towards her. However, it was filled with killing intent towards Yi Chunfeng and Qinggu Qiu, who cultivated the green heaven art. It was determined to kill them. "You misunderstood. They are not from the sky race," Xia Wendy said softly. "I did not misunderstand. They both cultivate the green heaven art. They are definitely sky race bastards who want to take advantage of the chaos to obtain Master's inheritance." The slaughter doppelganger said resolutely, "I can guarantee with my integrity that they have nothing to do with the sky race." Xia Wendy said as she stood in front of the slaughter doppelganger. "It seems that you have been deceived by them. Since that is the case, let me personally send them to hell." The slaughter doppelganger's body flashed as it tried to go around Xia Wendy and kill Yi Chunfeng and Qinggu Qiu. Bloodstar contract. When Xia Wendy saw that the slaughter doppelganger was determined to kill Yi Chunfeng, she quickly bit her 10 fingers and formed a complicated hand seal. Using the blood from her 10 fingers as a guide, she formed a blood-red contract and threw it at the slaughtered doppelganger. Although the slaughter doppelganger was indestructible, the bloodstar contract seemed to melt when it hit its body. It then drilled into its body and attacked its soul. "What are you doing? Are you trying to erase my soul?" The slaughter doppelganger was enraged by the bloodstar contract that Xia Wendy had formed, and it roared at her. I need an obedient doppelganger, so I can only erase the consciousness my ancestor established in your soul sea. Xiao Wendy's hands continued to twist as she formed a second Bloodstar contract and attacked the Slaughter doppelganger. She used the contract method passed down by the ancient Star Palace to forcefully erase its soul consciousness before refining it again. Stop. If you don't stop now, don't blame me for being impolite. The Slaughter doppelganger did not want to become a puppet doppelganger with no consciousness, so it roared at Xiao Wendy and locked its murderous aura on her. Xiao Wendy was unmoved by the Slaughter doppelganger's roar and continued to form a third Bloodstar contract with her blood. However, her actions had completely enraged the Slaughter doppelganger. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite. After that, the Slaughter doppelganger attacked Xiao Wendy with a shocking, murderous aura, trying to stop her from forming another Bloodstar contract. Young Master Yi, should we help? Qinggu Qiu asked as he looked at the beautiful Xiao Wendy, who was dodging nimbly. There was no need. She could handle it. Yi Chenfeng was very familiar with Xiao Wendy's strength and knew that she would not be in danger for the time being. Buzz. Xiao Wendy used a strange footwork as she continuously formed Bloodstar contracts and imprinted them into the Slaughter doppelganger's body. When Xiao Wendy imprinted the 8th Bloodstar contract into the Slaughter doppelganger's body, the Slaughter doppelganger suddenly hugged its head with both hands and let out a painful roar. The terrifying roar pierced through the 9 heavens, causing the entire space to tremble. At this moment, Xiao Wendy formed the 9th Bloodstar contract and imprinted it into the Slaughter doppelganger's body, forcefully erasing its severely damaged soul consciousness, turning it into a doppelganger with no consciousness. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 962. Xiao Wendy, you stole the treasure I wanted again. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test seeing the slaughtered doppelganger stop attacking and stand unconsciously beside Xiao Wendy. Yi Chenfeng helplessly sighed in his heart. He slowly walked over and said, You owe me this. Xiao Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chenfeng. Didn't you say you only want the Nirvana heart? Yi Chenfeng said helplessly. Can't I change my mind again? Don't you know women are fickle? Xiao Wendy showed her cute canine teeth and said flirtatiously, And I know you are not a stingy person. You are wrong. I'm a stingy person. Yi Chenfeng looked at Xiao Wendy's pretty face and said, You stole Star Emperor's Slaughter doppelganger. How are you going to compensate me? I will compensate you with myself. Do you dare to take it? Xiao Wendy's eyes showed a trace of craftiness. Really? Yi Chenfeng's eyes widened in shock. You see, I gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. I know you're not a stingy person. I will gladly accept this Slaughter doppelganger. Xiao Wendy looked at Yi Chenfeng's widening eyes and said with a smile. Then, without waiting for Yi Chenfeng to speak, she pressed her bleeding finger between the Slaughter doppelganger's eyebrows and forced it to recognize her as the owner. In the next moment, the Slaughter doppelganger made by Star Emperor from Gudao treasure became smaller and smaller until it was the size of a finger. It went into Xiao Wendy's mouth and disappeared. Let's go, generous man. Let's go inside. Other than the Nirvana heart, I can let you pick 3 treasures first. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's unkind expression, Xiao Wendy said with a smile. Sigh. Xiao Wendy, your face is thicker than mine. Yi Chenfeng sighed helplessly. Although the Slaughter doppelganger was precious, it was not very attractive to Yi Chenfeng. In terms of potential, Gudao Treasure's Slaughter doppelganger was not comparable to the sword puppet. I will take it as a compliment. After saying this, Xiao Wendy swung her jet-black waterfall-like long hair and moved her slender legs, walking towards the end of this dark space. When they reached the end of the Imperial Mausoleum along a dark stone path, Yi Chenfeng noticed that there were many lifelike pictures on the walls around them. When Yi Chenfeng and Qinggu Qiu looked at these images, they discovered that these images seemed to possess a demonic nature. With just a single glance, they were unable to extricate themselves and strange images appeared in their minds. Powerful. The number one person in the Xingluo continent was indeed frightening. Yi Qinfeng's eyes were filled with illusionary Tao patterns, dispelling the demonic gravitational force in the mural. He didn't dare to look at it any longer and followed Xiao Wandi, who closed her eyes tightly and walked to the end of the imperial mausoleum. A bronze coffin. At the end of the royal mausoleum, which had a large number of murals, there was a bronze coffin. Although the thick layer of dust on top of the coffin suggested that it had been there for hundreds of thousands of years, Yi Qinfeng still felt his heart palpitate when he saw the bronze coffin. It was as if there was a great danger hidden in the coffin, and opening it without permission would endanger one's life. However, when Xiao Wendi saw the bronze coffin and sensed the aura it emitted, a look of excitement appeared on her face. She knelt on the ground and respectfully kowtowed 3 times. It seemed that the person lying in the coffin was a legend of the Xingluo continent, as well as the number one person in the history of the Xingluo continent, the Star Emperor. What kind of inheritance did the Star Emperor leave behind in the coffin? Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of curiosity, and he had Qinggu Qiu wait on the spot while he prepared to open the coffin with Xiao Wendi. Xiao Wendi, let's open the coffin. Yi Qinfeng and the solemn Xiao Wendi walked to the side of the bronze coffin. Yes, Xiao Wendi nodded. At the same time, she extended her hand, wanting to open the bronze coffin. What a terrifying restriction. When Yi Qinfeng and Xiao Wendi tried to open the lid of the bronze coffin, not only were they unable to open it, there wasn't even the slightest gap. This caused Yi Qinfeng to reveal a shocked expression. One had to know that Yi Qinfeng's physical strength had reached 25 million kilograms. No matter how heavy something was, it would be like a toy in his hands. However, even after pushing his physical strength to the limit, he still couldn't tear open the coffin lid. This caused him to reveal a deep sense of shock. Let me try with blood. Xiao Wendi pondered for a moment before biting her finger and pressing it against the lid of the bronze coffin. She and Yi Qinfeng were unable to open the coffin lid. She let her blood seep into the coffin. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After absorbing Yi Qinfeng's essence blood, the lid of the bronze coffin became restless. The restriction sealing the coffin mysteriously disappeared, and Yi Qinfeng effortlessly opened the lid. He saw a white skeleton wearing a starry robe with ancient runes lying in the coffin in Yi Qinfeng's sight. There wasn't a trace of life or flesh. Tao runes. There were many Tao runes engraved on this skeleton. Looking at the white skeleton, Yi Qinfeng discovered that there were many Tao runes engraved on the surface of the skeleton. It was obvious that this person had cultivated the Tao intent to an extremely profound degree when he was alive, which was why he was able to engrave Tao runes on the skeleton. If this skeleton was taken to the outside world, it would definitely be auctioned for a sky-high price. Even if Yi Qinfeng obtained this skeleton and comprehended it, he would be able to deepen his comprehension of the Tao intent. The magnificence of a generation surpasses the pride of heaven. After 10,000 years of glory, it is still a skeleton in the end. Ancestor, when he has come to see you. Looking at the skeleton in the coffin, Xiao Wendi's eyes turned red. She took a deep breath and stabilized her emotions. She spoke with mixed feelings. When Xiao Wendi stretched out her blood-stained right hand and touched the Star Sovereign skeleton, the large number of Tao runes on the skeleton suddenly exploded, turning into a large number of Tao runes that rapidly poured into her heart. In the next moment, the starry robe on the skeleton also shattered. The Nirvana heart that was covered with innate Tao runes appeared in front of the two of them. So powerful, why do I feel that the Star Sovereign's Nirvana heart is even more powerful than the heavenly venerable lifeblood? Feeling the Tao intent contained in the Nirvana heart, Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of surprise. Although the heavenly venerable lifeblood was only a drop of blood refined by the heavenly venerable was after all a Tao venerable expert. Regardless of strength or Tao intent, it should surpass the peak Star Sovereign. But when Yi Qinfeng saw the Star Sovereign's Nirvana heart, he felt that it was far more powerful than the heavenly venerable lifeblood. Could it be that the Star Sovereign wasn't a Nirvana heavenly venerable expert? His strength had surpassed the limit of this world and reached the heaven domain realm. Yi Qianfeng faintly felt that the star sovereign's strength was perhaps even more powerful than what was passed down in ancient times. He was definitely hiding a huge secret. When the Nirvana heart appeared, it immediately resonated with Xia Wendy's bloodline. Xia Wendy forced out a large amount of essence blood and sprayed it onto the Nirvana heart. After absorbing the essence blood, the Nirvana heart turned into a ray of light and fused into her body. Immediately, a large amount of starlight shone out of Xia Wendy's body and engulfed her. When Xia Wendy fused with the Nirvana heart, Yi Qianfeng walked to the empty bronze coffin and his eyes lit up. Universe ring, a universe ring. Seeing the dark gold universe ring lying in the corner of the coffin silences coffin, Yi Qianfeng's eyes lit up. He immediately picked up the ring and controlled the God-Eater brain to break the restriction and infiltrate it. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 963. 1 middle-grade Dao sword and 12 low-grade Dao swords. Yi Qianfeng's soul entered the universe ring. The first thing he found were 13 high-quality Dao swords covered with ancient patterns. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. One of the Dao swords was a middle-grade Dao artifact, while the other 12 were low-grade Dao swords. In addition to these 13 Dao swords, he also obtained 2 middle-grade Dao artifacts and more than 10 porcelain bottles containing elixirs. However, because too much time had passed and they were not preserved properly, the elixirs in these porcelain bottles had long lost their efficacy and become useless elixirs. Jade slips. 3 jade slips. Yi Qianfeng found 2 jade slips in a large number of porcelain bottles. One of the jade slips was the horizontal slash that the slaughtered doppelganger had used. It had reached the level of supreme grade Dao skill. The second jade slip recorded a map of the outer area of sky beyond. It was also the thing that attracted Yi Qianfeng the most back then. Yes, this is when Yi Qianfeng released his soul power into the third jade slip. He was suddenly stunned. His face was full of shock. This was the way to break through the shackles of the Duhan continent. In the Duhan continent, one could really break through the limits of the Duhan continent and reach the Dao Saint realm. Could it be that Star Emperor was not a Nirvana heavenly realm expert back then, but had cultivated to the Dao Saint realm? Yi Qianfeng finally knew why Star Emperor's Nirvana heart was more powerful than the heavenly venerable blood. He also understood why Star Emperor dared to kill the divine race experts in the lower realm. His strength was even more terrifying than what the outside world said. However, he could not defy the heavens in the end. When he tore open the heaven realm gate, he was schemed against by the divine race and died in the end. The heavenly saint breaking pill was a pill that could break through the limits of the Duhan continent. As long as this pill was refined, one could break through the bottleneck and become a saint in the Duhan continent. However, it would not be easy to gather the spirit herbs needed to refine the heavenly saint-breaking pill. It would be even more difficult to refine it. Yi Qianfeng quickly browsed through the heaven and earth spiritual herbs needed to refine the heaven and earth spiritual herbs. Other than the 9-turn blood ginseng king, he had never heard of any other heaven and earth spiritual herbs. Yi Qianfeng memorized the herbs needed to concoct the heavenly saint breaking pellet and continued to look through the Star Emperor's belongings. However, because the Star Emperor had died too long ago, many of the treasures he collected back then couldn't withstand the baptism of time and were destroyed. However, the countless soul crystals in the universe ring were not damaged in the slightest. This wealth was enough for Yi Qianfeng to establish a holy land. What a powerful restriction was sealed in this jade box. At the end of the book, Yi Qianfeng found a jade box sealed with a powerful restriction. When he broke the restriction on the jade box, he found 5 heaven and earth spirit herbs filled with spirituality and a beast core of a saint beast. These were the 5 heaven and earth spiritual herbs needed to concoct the heavenly saint breaking pellet. Looking at the tiny words in the jade box, Yi Chen-feng was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect the Star Emperor to actually leave behind 5 stalks of heaven and earth spirit herbs required to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet and a rare saint beast core in the Duhan continent. Because these 5 heaven and earth spiritual herbs and the beast core of a saint beast were too precious, the Star Emperor had injected a large amount of life energy into the jade box before he died. Ancient Heaven Xian Vine, Phoenix Blood Ganoderma, Sun God Flower. As long as I can find these 3 heaven and earth spiritual herbs, I will be able to gather all the herbs needed to concoct the heavenly saint breaking pellet. If I can break through to the divine saint realm in the Duhan continent, it will be much easier for me to tear open the gate of the heaven realm and ascend to the heaven realm. Yi Chen-feng muttered to himself. He thought that the map of the outer region of heavens beyond was his greatest reward in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. However, he unexpectedly found the way to break through the shackles of the Duhan continent. This reward was very significant, and its value was immeasurable. If the pill formula of the heavenly saint breaking pellet was spread to the outside world, it would probably cause a huge commotion and shake the entire Duhan continent. The material of this bronze coffin was not simple, and if there was a chance in the future, he could use it to refine a Tao artifact. After moving the Star Emperor's remains into the universe mirror, Yi Chen-feng walked to the side of the bronze coffin and gently touched the surface of the coffin. The coffin was cold to the bone. It was made from a special material and weighed 1,000,000 kilograms. His eyes lit up, and he put it into the universe mirror as well. Sensing that Xia Wendy would not be able to fuse with the Star Emperor's heart of nirvana, Yi Chen-feng sat cross-legged at the end of the dark tomb. He controlled the power of the God-Eater brain and sent it into the first jade scroll to comprehend the horizontal sword slash. The horizontal sword slash was about killing with one strike. Although it was similar to the instant kill sword, its attacking power was 100 times stronger. It could unleash the power of the Tao intent to the extreme in an instant, making it impossible for the opponent to defend against. If Yi Chen-feng could comprehend the horizontal sword slash, he would have another great killing move to kill the enemy. Eliminating all distracting thoughts, Yi Chen-feng controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the cultivation formula of the horizontal sword slash. Meanwhile, Xia Wendy, whose body was enveloped by the Star Tao intent, was also trying her best to fuse the power of the bloodline with the heart of nirvana. While the two of them were meditating and forgetting about time and space, Kong Sungqin and the other two had also obtained a great opportunity in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Although the opportunity they obtained was far less than that of Yi Chen-feng and the other two, it greatly increased their lifespan and slightly increased their strength. They were wild with joy and felt that this trip was not in vain. Just as Yi Chen-feng's group of 5 obtained a great opportunity in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, an intense battle was taking place outside the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Sha Tianya and the Devil King led the experts from Xingluo Heavenly City, the True Demon Clan, and the Sun Luo Hall to the Imperial Mausoleum. When they saw that the entrance to the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum had been opened, they were furious. In their opinion, everything in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum should belong to them. But now, the Imperial Mausoleum had been taken by someone else, and the opportunity inside could be obtained by an outsider. All of their efforts had gone down the drain. They were so angry that they rushed into the Imperial Mausoleum without hesitation. Those who step into the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum will be killed without mercy. A thunderous roar resounded. The black god ant, with a tall and sturdy body that looked like a black tower, appeared at the entrance of the Imperial Mausoleum. It used its body to block Sha Tianya, the Devil King, and the others as it loudly warned them. Earthquake technique. When the black god ant saw that Sha Tianya and the others did not listen to its warning and insisted on barging in, it immediately used its killer move. A terrifying demonic energy was released from its sturdy body, causing the space around it to shake violently. It was as if a huge earthquake had occurred, and it swept towards the experts from the 3 major powers. Not good. Dodge. Sensing the terrifying power of the Black God Ant's attack, Sha Tianya, the Devil King, and the others' faces changed. They immediately used their movement techniques to dodge the attack. Sha Tianya and the others who were charging at the front managed to dodge the Black God Ant's attack. However, there were still many who were unable to dodge and were hit by the Black God Ant's earthquake technique. The frequency of the earthquake technique's attack was extremely fast. In an instant, the explosive power violently bombarded their bodies, directly shattering their bodies and killing them on the spot. A sacred beast. This burly man was a sacred beast. Sensing the vast demonic energy released by the Black God Ant, Sha Tianya and the others' faces changed. Sacred beasts were almost extinct in the Xingluo continent, but they did not expect to meet one here. Who was the person who stole the key to the imperial tombs and opened the Xingluo imperial tombs? Sha Tianya, the Devil King, and the others' faces turned serious. They felt that the situation was out of their control. Just the low-grade sacred beast Black God and in front of them was already very difficult to control. However, they were determined to obtain the opportunity in the Xingluo imperial tombs. Sha Tianya and the Devil King quickly communicated with each other and summoned their respective Dao treasures to attack the Black God Ant. Since you guys want to die, I'll grant you your wish. When the Black God Ant saw the Dao treasures attacking it, it immediately transformed into its most terrifying battle form. It exploded with more than 200 million gene of strength and charged forward. It fought against the experts from the three major powers by itself. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 964. Art of Gu Fanxing. Sha Tianya and Lian Xing quickly looked at each other. Both of them circulated their profound Dao incantations and fused their soul power and Dao intent together. They condensed numerous mysterious stars that were covered with innate Dao patterns. With a powerful impact force, they smashed towards the Black God Ant. The Demon King and Demon Queen also made their moves at this moment. They used their terrifying devil arts and attacked the Black God Ant like a black tide. They wanted to heavily injure it. However, the Black God Ant was too powerful. It relied on its absolute strength to shatter Sha Tianya and the others' attacks. It quickly approached them, wanting to tear them apart. Princess, should we help? In a dark corner of the chaotic space, a tall and sturdy man in a blood-red robe looked at the Black God Ant that was unleashing its invincible might. He softly asked an eye-catching woman in a black dress beside him. She wore a silver mask and had a body as hot as poison. She was an eye-catching woman with a body as hot as poison. I think they should be able to deal with that saint beast. The lady who looked like a dark elf looked at the tomb door that the Black God Ant was guarding. She seemed to be deep in thought. This lady in a black dress was none other than the one who had a dispute with Yi Chunfeng, Shui Hanyan. The man in a blood-red robe beside her was the owner of a mortal island, Zhan Jiotong, who had just broken through to rank 6 combat beast emperor. Princess, who do you think was the first to enter Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum? Could it be someone from the other 2 divine nations? Zhan Jiotong asked with a frown as he looked at the Black God Ant that was getting stronger and stronger. It was suppressing Sha Tianya, the Demon King, and the others. Do you think it could be the Yi Chunfeng? Shui Hanyan's eyes that were hidden behind the silver mask flashed with a sharp light as she said with interest. It can't be, right? With his strength, how could he subdue a saint beast? Zhan Jiotong said doubtfully. Don't underestimate that Yi Chunfeng. He is more terrifying than you can imagine. Shui Hanyan had some understanding of Yi Chunfeng. She knew that he was hiding a lot of secrets that even she could not imagine. As he spoke, the Black God Ant that was displaying its might once again used the earthquake technique. More than 200 million gene of strength and demonic energy instantly erupted. It attacked Sha Tianya and the others at a rate of several hundred times per second. Crack! Crack! Under the shockingly powerful attack of the earthquake technique, the falling stars shattered one after another. The devil technique used by the Devil King and Devil Queen was also torn apart. The entire space fell into chaos. Flash after witnessing the might of the Black God Ant's attack, Sha Tianya and the Demon King's expressions changed. However, the Black God Ant's attack was too fast, and there were still several experts who couldn't dodge in time. They were crushed by the Black God Ant's earthquake technique, and not even their bones were left behind. Relying on his powerful strength, the Black God Ant did not follow up with another attack. He was like an invincible god of war, guarding the entrance of the Imperial Mausoleum. One man could hold off 10,000 men. Gu Fanxing Sha Tianya took a deep breath and suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. He summoned Gu Fanxing and controlled this astonishingly powerful Gu Dao treasure to crash into Yichen foam. Heavenly Tiger Banner, the instant the Gu Fanxing twisted space and crashed into Sha Tianya, the Black-robed Demon King also took out a Gu Dao treasure. The banner had a ferocious, heavenly tiger engraved on it. It quickly shook, condensing the image of tiger and pouncing towards the Black God Ant. Boom. 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 The two Gu Dao treasures attacked, but the Black God Ant did not dodge. He swung his heavy fists and attacked the two Gu Dao treasures with heaven-shaking strength. Relying on his absolute strength and terrifying demonic energy, he forced the two Gu Dao treasures to retreat again and again. Too strong. This Saint Beast is too strong. If he gives up on guarding the entrance of the Imperial Mausoleum and recklessly charges over, he will definitely bring us a devastating disaster. Lian Xing frowned when she saw that Sha Tianya and the Demon King were unable to injure the Black God Ant despite controlling the two Gu Dao treasures. What should we do? At this moment, the same thought appeared in everyone's mind. With the invincible Black God Ant guarding the entrance of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, they had no chance of entering the Imperial Mausoleum to obtain the great fortune inside. However, when they thought about the secret of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum and the possibility that the Star Emperor's Nirvana heart was inside, they knew that they could not give up just like that. Otherwise, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. Old City Lord Sha, do you have a good method to deal with that Saint Beast? The Demon King, who was emitting dense demonic energy, asked with a serious expression. That Saint Beast is too strong. If we want to injure it, we can only use the power of the formation to injure it. Sha Tianya said with a serious expression. You have the formation diagram? Although the Demon King also had a trump card that could turn the tides, he could only use it once. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not use it. Yes, I have the four directions killing formation diagram. If the four of us enter the four directions killing formation diagram, we should be able to suppress that Saint Beast. With the help of Hall Master Sun and the others, we should have a chance of killing it. In order to obtain the great fortune inside the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, Sha Tianya had no choice but to reveal his trump card and take out a precious formation diagram. All right, let's enter the formation. Looking at the formation diagram that was floating above Sha Tianya's head and getting bigger and bigger, the Demon King and the Demon Queen, who were both level 6 combat beast emperors, quickly entered the formation. Sha Tianya and Lian Xing also entered the formation at the same time. The four of them took control of the north, south, east, and west respectively, and poured all of their soul power into the formation diagram. Immediately, boundless killing intent gushed out from the four directions killing formation, turning into a huge sword that could split the heavens and earth, slashing towards the Black God Ant. Boom. The Black God Ant did not dodge as the huge sword of killing intent slashed towards him. Instead, he poured his terrifying strength and demonic energy in his right fist. He compressed his strength and demonic energy to the extreme and smashed the huge sword of killing intent with a punch. After the first slash, Sha Tianya and the other three borrowed the might of the formation diagram and continued to condense the huge sword of killing intent, slashing towards the Black God Ant. Layers of huge sword of killing intent slashed down ferociously, overlapping each other endlessly, clashing with the Black God Ant's attacks. The two of them fought intensely. For a moment, all sound in the world was swallowed up. The terrifying collision created a terrifying shockwave that exploded outside the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. The ground trembled violently, and countless boulders were shattered. Many cultivators who were not as strong were sent flying, vomiting blood from their heavy injuries, and collapsed in the forest thousands of meters away. Four directions, killing formation. Four directions combined into one. Sha Tianya's soul power surged, and he gathered the killing intent from the four directions together, forming a peerless sword of killing intent. He tore through the void and ruthlessly slashed towards the Black God Ant Boom. After a loud explosion, the Black God Ant was forced back by the peerless sword of killing intent. A trace of blood flowed out from his fist, and the demonic energy in his body trembled violently. Lowly humans, you dare to injure me? I will tear you apart. The Black God Ant was completely enraged by the injuries it received. It let out an uncontrollable roar and rushed towards the four directions killing formation while facing the incoming sword of killing intent. Attack! The Sun Luo Hall Master, Sun Ming, and the others, who had been waiting for an opportunity, did not waste the Black God Ant's opportunity to leave the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. They attacked at the same time, using their powerful Dao skills. They controlled their Dao treasures and heavenly treasures to attack the Black God Ant. For a moment, the entire space was filled with Dao shadows and soul lights. The Dao skills that came from all directions were like a giant mouth that swallowed the Black God Ant whole. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 965. Although the Black God Ant was strong, Sha Tianya's four directions killing array was extremely powerful. In addition to Sun Ming, the Great Demon Envoy, and the Black and White Demon Envoy's attacks, the Black God Ant's attacks were completely suppressed. Heaven rending and earth rending, the Black Divine Ant went berserk after suffering the continuous destructive attacks. Monstrous demonic energy suddenly erupted, tearing apart the chaotic void. It was as if the heavens were falling and the earth was collapsing as it swept out in all directions, shattering the soul skills and Dao shadows that covered the sky and earth. In the next moment, the Black God Ant transformed into its true form. Its sharp, sickle-like teeth shone with a demonic light. Its huge body charged forward, crashing into the four directions killing array. Absolute kill sword when the Black God Ant transformed into its true form. Sha Tianya's group immediately activated the four directions killing array and slashed out with absolute kill swords. Boom, boom, boom. Sword after sword slashed down. The terrifying attacks shattered the Black God Ant's true form and forced it to fall to the ground. Let's go. We will enter the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. Shui Hanyan saw that the Black God Ant was being suppressed by the four directions killing array and was about to enter the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum with Jinjiodong. Suddenly, 5 figures flew out from the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. It's really you. Seeing Yi Chunfeng fly out of the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, Shui Hanyan's beautiful eyes lit up. However, because she was wearing a silver mask, no one noticed the change in her expression. How dare you bully my contract beast? I will exterminate all of you today. Xiao Wenyi saw the injured Black God Ant and was instantly enraged. A powerful killing intent was emitted from her body as she controlled the 4-beast flag to meet the experts from the 3 major powers. When Xiao Wenyi made her move, Sha Tianya's group also controlled their Dao artifacts to attack. Facing a mortal enemy, the 3 of them did not show any mercy. They used all of their skills and started a frenzied massacre. After finding their own opportunities in the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum, Kong Sungqin's group strength had clearly increased. Under their all-out attacks, the experts from the 3 major powers were constantly dying, completely disrupting the situation. Just As Yi Chun-feng summoned his heavenly halberd and wanted to join the battle, a blurry shadow blocked his path. Shui Hanyan, although Shui Hanyan was wearing a silver mask that covered her beautiful face, Yi Chun-feng recognized her identity at first glance. Yi Chun-feng, you've given me another surprise, Shui Hanyan said without a trace of emotion. Do you know that I am determined to get the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum? I have planned for a long time to get the opportunity inside. Wishes are beautiful, but reality is cruel. Shui Hanyan, you have to learn to accept reality. Yi Chun-feng said indifferently. What if I don't want to learn? Shui Hanyan asked. You'll be pissed to death. Yi Chun-feng said sternly, not hesitating at all. Yi Chun-feng, long time no see. You're much more interesting than before. Shui Hanyan let out a series of crisp laughter. Suddenly, Shui Hanyan struck out a palm. Her soft and boneless hand exploded with amazing power, twisting the space and pressing towards Yi Chun-feng's chest. Shui Hanyan's palm was extremely sudden, but Yi Chun-feng reacted faster. He quickly overlapped his hand in front of his chest and met Shui Hanyan's palm attack head-on. His reaction was not slow. Shui Hanyan's aura suddenly surged. Today, let me see how much your strength has improved. With that, Shui Hanyan shouted. The low-grade Taoist weapon, dancing butterfly sword, appeared in her hand. It intertwined into streaks of sharp sword shadows, like lifelike butterflies flapping their wings, enveloping Yi Chun-feng. Shui Hanyan attacked with all her strength. Yi Chen's wind trident burst forth. He brandished his Feng Tian halberd, creating layers upon layers of halberd shadows. He continuously tore apart Shui Hanyan's attacks and fought fiercely with her. 6 yin-yang swords, while Yi Chun-feng was using brute force to break her technique. Shui Hanyan flicked her wrist, and the will of the yin-yang will of the great Tao erupted and fused into the dancing butterfly sword. Beams of yin-yang sword aura shot out, mixed with powerful will of the great Tao, cutting through everything in its path as it slashed towards Yi Chun-feng. 2 extremes Tao of life and death, the 6 yin-yang swords attacked. Yi Chun-feng quickly struck out a palm. The terrifying Tao will of life and death gathered in his palm, forming a yin-yang Tao disc, constantly crushing the yin-yang swords and neutralizing the attacks. 2 extremes Tao of life and death. It turns out that the person who snatched this supreme grade Taoist skill is you. Shui Hanyan let out a surprise sound. I should have known. Why? Are you very surprised? Yi Chun-feng asked with a faint smile. It was indeed surprising that you could cultivate a supreme grade Taoist skill with an incomplete incantation. Yi Chun-feng, you are more outstanding than I thought. Shui Hanyan was not stingy with her compliments, but she did not slow down her attack. She unleashed the yin-yang Tao will and sword Tao will to the extreme, attacking Yi Chun-feng with all her strength. She wanted to rely on her advantage in cultivation to suppress him. However, after breaking through to the level 4 combat Beast Emperor realm, Yi Chun-feng's strength became extremely terrifying. Life and death Tao will, 5 elements Tao will, heaven and earth Tao will constantly gushed out of his body, strengthening his attacks as he fought fiercely with Shui Hanyan. Because Yi Chun-feng's comprehension of Tao was too deep, he borrowed the power of Tao to fight evenly with Shui Hanyan, who was a level 6 combat Beast Emperor. While Yi Chun-feng and Shui Hanyan were fighting fiercely, Xia Wendy was standing on top of the Black God Ant, fighting fiercely with Sha Tianya and the other 3 who had formed the 4 sides killing formation. 4 Beast Flag, 4 Beast Frenzy. Xia Wendy poured her Tao will and soul power into the 4 Beast Flag, controlling it to spin rapidly, forming the shadows of an azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. They roared and attacked the 4 sides killing formation. After fusing with the Nirvana heart, Xia Wendy had reached the limit of a level 5 combat Beast Emperor. Her strength had become even more terrifying. Controlling the 4 Beast Flag to attack brought great pressure to the 4 sides killing formation. In addition to the Black God Ant's ferocious attacks, Sha Tianya and the other 3 couldn't hold on any longer. Cracks appeared on the formation diagram under their feet. Heavenly Mountain Tao Talisman, the Black God Ant rammed with all its strength, forcing the four sides killing formation to retreat. Xiao Wendy took out the Heavenly Mountain Tao Talisman, controlling this Gu Tao treasure to grow bigger and bigger. It was like a towering mountain, fiercely pressing down, smashing towards the four. Gu Fanqing Sha Tianya's expression changed. He multitasked, controlling Gu Fanqing to crash into the Heavenly Mountain Tao Talisman, blocking the mountain-like pressure. Star Tao Diagram, Life and Death Tao Diagram, Attack. Xiao Wenyi never showed mercy to her enemies. When the Heavenly Mountain Tao Talisman was blocked by Gu Fanqing, Xiao Wenyi's Star Tao Diagram and Life and Death Tao Diagram appeared in her hands. With destructive power, she fiercely attacked the four sides killing formation. Boom boom after receiving Xiao Wenyi's all-out attack. More cracks appeared on the four sides killing formation. The powerful dual Tao intent shook Sha Tianya and the other three, causing their attacks to be interrupted. Heaven falling and earth rending at this moment. The Black God Ant also launched its strongest attack. Its terrifying demonic energy shattered the void and bombarded the four sides killing formation. With a loud boom, the four sides killing formation formed by Sha Tianya and the other three was shattered under the Black God Ant's all-out attack. The four were sent flying by the sky-shattering power, suffering different degrees of injuries. Black God Ant, kill them for me. Xiao Wenyi looked at the broken formation diagram and the four people vomiting blood, and gave the kill order. Don't worry, Master. I will definitely tear them apart. With that, the murderous Black God Ant let out a roar and charged toward Sha Tianya and the other three. It attacked them with all its strength, determined to kill them and vent the hatred in its heart. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 966. Zhen Jiotong, quickly go help. Shui Hanyan, who had transformed into her bee-soul form and was fighting fiercely with Yi Chenfeng, saw that Sha Tianya and the others were in danger. She immediately transmitted her voice to Zhen Jiotong, asking him to help. Watermark advertisement. Test watermark, advertisement, test good. Zhen Jiotong quickly formed a seal with his hands. The Tao of life and death surged as he quickly struck out the Tao of life and death. He forcefully forced Kong Sung-chun, whose white hair was fluttering in the wind, to retreat and help. Junior, you want to leave before the battle with I is over? Kong Sung-chun took a step forward. His entire body drew an afterimage in the air and instantly intercepted Zhen Jiotong, who was trying to break out with all his strength. Then, powerful Tao of stars surged out of his body, forming a hand seal that seemed to contain the sun, moon, and stars. It carried an astonishing destructive power as it pressed towards Zhen Jiotong. Boom! The sun, moon, and stars collided with Zhen Jiotong's ultimate move, creating a powerful impact. Without giving Zhen Jiotong a chance to catch his breath, Jiang Xingchen, whose star robe fluttered in the wind, continued to attack him. His ferocious attacks completely suppressed Zhen Jiotong, making it impossible for him to help Sha Tianya and the others. Demonic ghost chains Kong Sung-chun entangled Zhen Jiotong. Yi Chenfeng also took advantage of Shui Hanyan's distraction to form 5 demonic ghost chains, sealing off the space she could dodge and forcefully restricting her movements. Sacred Thunder of Purple Beginnings, break. While Shui Hanyan's movements were restricted, the Sacred Thunder of Purple Beginnings with astonishing destructive power gushed out from Yi Chenfeng's body. It was like a purple dragon, bringing with it a deafening thunder as it bombarded her. Rumble. The deafening thunder resounded. The Sacred Thunder of Purple Beginnings instantly disintegrated Shui Hanyan's attack and fiercely struck her body. It tore her clothes and sent her flying. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. However, Shui Hanyan only suffered light injuries from the Sacred Thunder of Purple Beginnings at close range. Her torn clothes revealed a very soft black inner armor made of special materials. Mid-grade Dao artifact grade inner armor. Yi Chenfeng frowned. He didn't expect Shui Hanyin to have such a high grade of inner armor. Middle-grade offensive Dao tools were already very rare in the fighting spirit continent, let alone a mid-grade Dao tool inner armor. This was enough to prove Shui Hanyin's extraordinary identity. Yi Chenfeng, you're really surprising me more and more. I really want to know how many more tricks you're hiding, Shui Hanyin said lightly as she looked at Yi Chenfeng with a sharp gaze. But no one knew what she was really thinking. Shui Hanyin, bring out your true abilities. Only then will you be able to force me to reveal my true trump card. Yi Chenfeng put away his powerful halberd into the universe realm and took out his high-grade Dao artifact, the Emperor Heaven's Sword, as he spoke in a sharp voice. After speaking, Yi Chenfeng swiftly slashed out with his sword towards Shui Hanyin at an astonishing speed. When Shui Hanyin used the dancing butterfly sword to block Yi Chenfeng's attack, Dtion's sword radiance shot out a sharp power the way of the sword. It passed through the dancing butterfly sword and struck the silver mask on her face. The silver mask was directly split open, revealing Shui Hanyin's beautiful face that did not have any makeup on. High-grade Dao artifact, although Yi Chenfeng had slashed at her mask, Shui Hanyin still didn't have much expression on her face. However, her deep eyes were like stars that were getting brighter and brighter. She stared at Yi Chenfeng as though she wanted to see through him. Shui Hanyin, do you still want to continue fighting? If you don't want to, I'll go and help them kill. Yi Chenfeng didn't have any deep grudges with Shui Hanyin, let alone the fact that they had a kiss. Seeing Shui Hanyin staring at him in silence, Yi Chenfeng said loudly, "Fight!" Shui Hanyin suddenly smiled, a smile that could topple cities. Under the cover of her beautiful smile, her body suddenly sped up and transformed into an afterimage as she attacked Yi Chenfeng. Mad Devil Hammer. When she instantly approached Yi Chenfeng, the Mad Devil Hammer appeared in Shui Hanyin's fair and tender hands. When she continuously injected soul power into the Mad Devil Hammer, it became bigger and bigger. With the terrifying power of the Mad Devil, it was like a huge falling mountain as it continuously smashed towards Yi Chenfeng. God Devil Bloodline. Yi Chenfeng had already experienced the terror of the Mad Devil Hammer. He directly ignited his God Devil Bloodline and transformed into his God Devil body. He raised his physical strength to 150 million gene and faced the Mad Devil Hammer head-on. Boom, boom, boom. Deafening explosions rang out incessantly. While Yi Chenfeng relied on his absolute strength to resist the Mad Devil Hammer, he continuously attacked Shui Hanyin in an attempt to suppress her attacks. True Devil transformation. After witnessing the fearsomeness of the godly devil physique, Shui Hanyin also transformed into the true devil physique. Her jet black hair extended all the way to her buttocks, and her enchanting figure became even hotter. Her whole body was like a poison, exuding an irresistible allure. Yin-Yang Dao diagram. Shui Hanyin punched out. Hundreds of Yin-Yang Dao patterns gushed out like flowing water and turned into a Yin-Yang Dao diagram. It released the power of both Yin and Yang, disrupted the space, and attacked Yi Chenfeng. Sword Soul, break for me. Yi Chenfeng's pupils shrank. The Sword Soul flew out of his sea of soul and pierced the Yin-Yang Dao diagram like a meteor. In the next moment, a terrifying Sword Dao diagram appeared in the Sword Soul. It instantly amplified the power of the Sword Soul. It crushed the Yin-Yang Dao patterns and pierced through the Yin-Yang Dao diagram, stabbing towards Shui Hanyin's chest. Sword Soul, you actually condensed a Sword Soul. Seeing that Yi Chenfeng had actually condensed a Sword Soul, Shui Hanyin was moved. She executed her sword steps and dodged rapidly, dodging the shocking attack of the Sword Soul. Shui Hanyin, are you still not going to use your trump card? If you still don't use your trump card, I'm afraid you will lose to me. Yi Chenfeng looked at Shui Hanyin with a smile that didn't look like a smile as he spoke domineeringly. You are indeed the man that I fancy. You have surprised me time and time again. However, I don't want to use my trump card because that would be unfair to you. Furthermore, Once I use it, you will definitely lose. Shui Hanyin concealed the shock on her face and spoke in a calm voice. Are you that confident? Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly. Are you that confident? Shui Hanyin nodded her head and spoke without a doubt. However, I don't believe you and want to see your final trump card. As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng fused his sword soul into the Emperor's Sky sword, increasing the attacking power of the Emperor's Sky sword to the greatest extent. He wanted to launch a thunderous attack on Shui Hanyin to force her to use her final trump card. However, at this moment, a world-shaking explosion came from the horizon. The Demon King, who was only left with the strength to defend, consumed an elixir that was covered with elixir patterns. Suddenly, a terrifying power erupted from his body and forced Xiao Wendy and the Black God Ant, who were both unleashing their invincible might, back dozens of meters. Yi Chenfeng, didn't you want to know what my final trump card is? That is my final trump card. Shui Hanyin pointed at the Demon King, who had broken through the limits of a Class 6 combat Beast Emperor and spoke indifferently. One-star Dao Saint Yi Chenfeng felt that the Demon King's strength had reached an unimaginable level and opened his eyes wide. No, to be precise, it was nirvana. Shui Hanyin shook her head and said, if I had also broken through to nirvana, do you think you would have a chance of defeating me? No. Yi Chenfeng sighed helplessly. Although his strength was extraordinary and he had the 9-dragon jade annulus and the Qinquan sword formation, it was impossible for him to defeat Nirvana unless he used his life spirit technique. Don't worry, my little man. Shui Hanyin looked at Yi Chenfeng's helpless look and smiled sweetly. You are someone I have my eyes on. I won't use the Nirvana elixir to deal with you. Yi Chenfeng, mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 967. 10 Layers of Heaven Kill with the help of the Nirvana elixir. The Demon King possessed the power of Nirvana for a short period of time. He wielded the Black Demon Heavy Sword and slashed out the 10 layers of heaven kill. It carried boundless killing intent as it slashed towards Xiao Wendy and the Black God Ant Demon Weeps Mountains and Rivers facing the Demon King's killing move. The Black God Ant did not dodge. It once again transformed into its most powerful battle form. Its demonic aura soared to the sky as it punched out with its fists like meteors. Let's attack together and kill that little girl first. Sha Tianya, who got a chance to catch his breath, looked at Xia Wendy, who was stained with blood, and said coldly. Sha Tianya and the other two attacked together, using powerful Dao techniques to attack Xia Wendy. They wanted to gather everyone's power to kill her. Xia Wendy was just injured by the Demon King's Nirvana power. Now that she was attacked by Sha Tianya and the other two, she was in a dangerous situation. Her attacks were completely suppressed by the 3 level 6 combat Beast Emperors. Seeing that Xiao Wendy was in danger, Yi Chenfeng immediately used his sword steps to save her. However, Shui Hanyin was faster. She intercepted Yi Chenfeng and said with a faint smile, "What? Is that girl your little lover?" "No, she is my friend." Yi Chenfeng looked at Shui Hanyin's hostile face and said, "Yi Chenfeng, do you know that a woman's jealousy is very strong? If she was your little lover, I would definitely destroy her." Shui Hanyin said domineeringly. "Shui Hanyin, don't tease me. Our relationship is not that good." Yi Chenfeng frowned and said, "That was before. Now I am very interested in you, so you can't escape from my palm." Shui Hanyin's mouth slightly curved up, revealing a seductive smile. "And I have a feeling that I will like you." Shui Hanyin, you are too domineering. You are not likable. Yi Chenfeng could not understand Shui Hanyin's thoughts. He could not figure out what she wanted to do. Is that so? Why do I feel that you will also fall in love with me? Shui Hanyin smiled and said, "So you better not be so fickle in front of me right now. Otherwise, when the day comes that you fall in love with me, I will make you pay the price for your affection." While speaking, Xia Dai, who was constantly defending, was hit by a star covered in Dao patterns. She left behind a cloud of blood in the air and fell to the ground like a kite with a broken string. Seeing that Xiao Wendy was in danger, Yi Chenfeng's heart tightened. He used his Dao treasure, the cloud-treading boots, and pushed his speed to the limit, wanting to save her at full speed. Yi Chenfeng, your choice is really heartbreaking, but I won't let you save your little lover. Shui Hanyan released boundless devil qi from her body, dyeing the void. Like black devil vines, they wrapped around Yi Chenfeng's body, forcibly slowing him down. True Devil Sky Strike next. Shui Hanyan unleashed her ultimate move. Her Dao will and devil qi converged together, forming a terrifying beam of light that distorted space and shot towards Yi Chenfeng. Boom! Yi Chenfeng unleashed his strongest power and swung the Emperor's Celestial Sword to clash with Shui Hanyan's killer move. However, the power of the perfected Devil Sky Strike was too great. The instant Yi Chenfeng blocked the perfected Devil Sky Strike, he was forced back a few meters and was unable to save Xiao Wendy. Qinggu Qiu, Ling Yu, Shui, Third Uncle Fu, and the three heavenly beasts quickly came out to help. In the critical situation, Yi Chenfeng summoned Qinggu Qiu and the other three heavenly beasts, as well as the 3 level 8 heavenly beasts that he had subdued earlier. They attacked Xingluo Heavenly City and the other 2 forces. Qinggu Qiu, why are you not dead? Why are you with He Yan? Sha Tianya, Lian Xing, and the others opened their eyes wide when they saw Qinggu Qiu charging towards them with a flying snow sword. It was as if they had seen a ghost. From their point of view, Yi Chenfeng had left the heavenly tomb alive, which meant that Qinggu Qiu was dead. However, they did not expect that Qinggu Qiu was still alive. Moreover, he was with Yi Chenfeng, following him blindly. Could it be that the two of them had put on a show? Sha Tianya could not help but suspect the relationship between Yi Chenfeng and Qinggu Qiu. With Qinggu Qiu's help, the pressure on Xia Wendy was greatly reduced. Using the Nirvana Heart, she forcibly suppressed her injuries and fought Sha Tianya and the other 2 with Qinggu Qiu, who was using the green heaven art and full of heaven energy. The fierce battle between the Black God Ant and the Demon King had also reached its climax. Although the Demon King had consumed the Nirvana elixir and temporarily possessed the strength of the Nirvana realm, his attacks were abnormally terrifying and could shatter the void with a wave of his hand. However, the Black God Ant was a saint beast after all. The demonic energy in its body was endless. In addition to the Black God Ant's boundless strength, the Demon King's attacks were gradually suppressed. The Demon King's consecutive killer moves were also destroyed by the Black God Ant's absolute strength. As for Jiang Xingqian and the other 2, with the help of Ling Yu and the other 2, as well as the 3 level 8 heavenly beasts, the pressure on them was even lighter. The experts from the 3 major forces were forced to retreat again and again. Shui Hanyan, you're done for. As Yi Chenfeng fought with Shui Hanyan, he tried to provoke her and disturb her heart. Fine, I'll spare you and your little lover today. However, I want you to pass on a message to her. Don't let her fall into my hands. Otherwise, I'll make her beg for death. Shui Hanyan did not seem to care about today's defeat. She wanted to leave after saying those words. Bitch, where you going? Xiao Dai's ears were extremely sharp, and she heard every single word of Shui Hanyan's words. She flew into a rage, and under Qinggu Qiu's protection, she suddenly turned around and attacked Shui Hanyan with a star diagram and life and death diagram. If I want to leave, you can't stop me. A sword diagram appeared under Shui Hanyan's feet. With a single step, she appeared 1,000 meters away, dodging the attacks of the star diagram and life and death diagram. The space she was in could not withstand the attacks of the 2 Dao diagrams, and a large hole was blasted in it. Sword steps, major perfection. You've actually cultivated your sword steps to major perfection. Seeing the speed of Shui Hanyan's sword steps, Yi Chenfeng revealed a trace of surprise. He didn't expect Shui Hanyan to be so talented. She was 1 step ahead of him and cultivated the sword steps to the great accomplishment realm. Demon King, you'll cover us. Let's go. Since the battle was over, Shui Hanyan did not want to stay any longer. She wanted to break out of the encirclement. However, Chingu Qiu, Kong Sungchun, and the others did not give them a chance to escape. They attacked with all their might, determined to take their lives. Demon Chain, seeing that Zhen Jiotong, the black and white demon envoys, were entangled, Shui Hanyin quickly took out several black balls of light from her yin and yang ring and threw them into the void. The balls of light formed thousands of black chains. She controlled the chains with her will and wrapped them around Chingu Qiu, Kong Sungchun, and the others. When Chingu Qiu and the others tore apart the demon chains, other than the powerful Demon King, everyone else escaped into the forest. True demon sky strike, true demon sword Tao of life and death. When the Demon King saw that Shui Hanyin and the others had successfully escaped, he ignored the exhaustion of his body and continued to attack the Black God Ant. The void collapsed, and the Demon King forcibly broke through the Black God Ant's attack, interrupting the pursuit of the others. In the next moment, the Demon King's body flashed, and he flew away like a wisp of black smoke. The chaotic space gradually returned to normal. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 968. Yi Chenfeng, what's your relationship with that woman? Xiao Wendy stared at Yi Chenfeng with her beautiful phoenix eyes and asked fiercely. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. Obviously, she was still brooding over Shui Hanyin's words. Friend or foe? Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment and gave a fair evaluation. Humph, I think your soul has been stolen by that vixen. Xiao Wendy snorted and said, shameless. Yi Chenfeng also didn't know if Xiao Wendy was referring to him or Shui Hanyin when she said shameless, but seeing her angry eyes, Yi Chenfeng didn't ask for a rebuff. Yi Chenfeng, let me ask you, between me and that vixen, who is prettier? Xiao Wendy asked with hostility. Hearing Xiao Wendy's question, Yi Chenfeng had an impulse to go crazy. It was like saving one's wife and mother in the water. It was hard to answer. Both are prettier. Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment and said, you stinking pervert, you still want to enjoy the blessings of two women? Xiao Wendy scolded without any trace of politeness. You can't reason with a woman, and you can't be serious with a woman, then you will lose. Looking at the aggressive Xiao Wendy, Yi Chenfeng understood a principle and changed the topic. Let's leave here first. After speaking, Yi Chenfeng took the lead and left under the smiling gaze of Kong Sungchun and others. The overlapping peaks of the mountains, the clouds are deep. This was the famous phrase used to describe the highest peak of the chaotic cloud peak in ancient books. At the highest peak of the chaotic cloud peak, Xiao Wendy sat cross-legged and operated the Tao formula to quickly heal her injuries, recover her energy, and adjust her state. As for Yi Chenfeng and the others, they surrounded the highest peak of chaotic cloud, surrounding Xiao Wendy in the middle. Yi Chenfeng and others were so careful and sealed the entire space, because after the battle just now, Xiao Wendy and the Nirvana heart had perfectly merged, and she felt the breath of heaven's punishment. If Xiao Wendy could survive the heavenly punishment, she would be able to borrow the power of the heavenly punishment to completely refine the Nirvana heart and turn it into a part of her body, breaking through to the level 6 Beast Emperor realm. However, Xiao Wendy was very clear that the heavenly punishment she would attract after fusing with the Nirvana heart would definitely not be simple. She had to be in her best condition to receive the baptism of the heavenly punishment. Only then would she be able to overcome it. The slightest mistake or carelessness could result in failure at the very last step and being struck to death by the heavens. What kind of punishment would she incur? Chingu Qiu knew that the Nirvana heart had been obtained by Xiao Wendy. Seeing her meditating with her eyes closed, he couldn't help but wonder what kind of heavenly punishment a heaven-defying treasure like the Nirvana heart would attract. On the other hand, Kong Sungchun, Bai Feng, and the others also looked excited and worried. He was excited that he would be able to witness the highest level of heavenly punishment and gain some insights through Xiao Wendy's tribulation. However, He was worried that Xia Wendy would fail her tribulation. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to answer to the Xia clan. After about a day or so, a violent gust of wind blew over, causing the clouds above the chaotic cloud peak to roll violently like waves in the sea. A terrifying pressure formed in the sky, like a giant hand of the five elements, ruthlessly pressing down. Sensing that the heavenly punishment was coming, Xia Wendy, who was sitting on the peak of the chaotic cloud peak, opened her eyes. Her cute face revealed a trace of seriousness. Through the pressure in the sky, she felt that the might of the heavenly punishment this time was probably beyond her imagination. Xia Wendy, these 2 life spirit grasses are for you. Yi Feng was not stingy. He took out 2 life spirit grasses that could bring a person back to life and threw them to Xia Wendy, who was preparing to face the heavenly punishment with all her might. Xia Wendy's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. She nodded at Yi Feng, then put one of the life spirit grasses in her mouth and the other into her yin-yang ring, in case of an emergency. Roughly 2 hours later, the sky that was filled with a terrifying pressure was suddenly covered by dark clouds. The dark clouds rolled in from all directions like an army of thousands of men and horses, devouring all the light. The entire world darkened. Xia Wendy, do you need me to lend you the 9-dragon jade annulus? Feeling that the tribulation clouds were getting thicker and thicker, revealing a destructive power that made one's heart palpitate, Yi Feng immediately transmitted his voice to Xia Wendy, asking, "No need. These 2 life spirit grasses are enough for me to face the heavenly punishment." Xia Wendy shook her head. Her beautiful eyes revealed an incomparably strong confidence. Boom, boom, boom. After another incense stick's worth of time, the tribulation clouds that were 1,000 feet thick began to emit dense, thunderous sounds. Lightning snakes that were as thick as buckets danced wildly in the tribulation clouds. What kind of heavenly punishment would Xia Wendy attract? Looking at the tribulation clouds that were torn apart by the lightning snakes in the sky, Yi Feng wanted to know what kind of heavenly punishment would descend in a moment. Boom, boom, boom. Tens of thousands of lightning snakes wantonly for an incense stick's worth of time. Suddenly, an earth-shattering thunderous sound rang out, shaking the entire void. In the next moment, countless lightning snakes broke through the violently tumbling tribulation clouds and quickly gathered, forming a dark gray lightning bolt that was like a wild dragon. It roared wildly as it struck down. The moment this dark gray lightning struck down, the entire space couldn't bear the heavy pressure and a large number of cracks appeared. Nascent sacred lightning. This dark gray lightning had reached the level of nascent sacred lightning. Feeling that the dark gray lightning was comparable to the purple beginnings sacred lightning, Yi Feng revealed a shocked expression. The might of nascent sacred lightning was extremely terrifying. Even a 6th-level combat beast emperor wouldn't dare to face it head-on. However, Xia Wendy attracted the continuous attack of nascent sacred lightning during her tribulation. This made Yi Feng sweat for her. When the dark gray lightning comparable to nascent sacred lightning was about to strike Xia Wendy, the star Dao intent and life and death Dao intent in her body gushed out, turning into 2 frightening Dao diagrams that sealed the space above her head, resisting the gray lightning. When the gray lightning struck the 2 Dao diagrams, it immediately split the star Dao diagram and the life and death Dao diagram apart. The frightening lightning energy passed through the 2 Dao diagrams and struck Xia Wendy's body, wanting to destroy her. However, after being weakened by the 2 Dao diagrams, the gray lightning's might was weakened to the extreme. The strands of gray lightning couldn't harm Xia Wendy's body at all, and she easily blocked them. Nirvana Heart. Ignite, however. As time passed, more and more cracks appeared on the 2 Dao diagrams. Just as the 2 Dao diagrams were about to be shattered by the gray lightning, Xia Wendy ignited her Nirvana Heart, releasing a powerful Nirvana energy that poured into the 2 Dao diagrams. The Star Emperor's Nirvana Heart contained a frightening amount of energy. After fusing with the Nirvana energy of the Nirvana Heart, the cracks on the 2 Dao diagrams were quickly repaired. The extremely destructive gray lightning couldn't threaten Xiao Wendy's life at all. Suddenly, the frightening gray lightning strangely disappeared. Xiao Wendy used the two Tao diagrams to resist the baptism of the gray lightning of nascent sacred lightning. However, passing through the first layer of heavenly punishment so quickly didn't make Xiao Wendy happy. Instead, she was shocked, and her expression became even more serious. There must be a demon behind this abnormality. Xiao Wendy felt that the heavenly punishment below would be even more frightening. Sure enough, just as Xiao Wendy had imagined, a strange black hole suddenly appeared in the violently tumbling tribulation clouds. It crazily swallowed the tribulation cloud's power. In the next instant, a 30-foot-tall thunder war god appeared from the black hole. His body was covered in lightning, and he walked down step by step. Seeing the thunder war god appear in the sky, Yi Qinfeng's eyes widened. He never would have thought that the heavenly punishment that Xiao Wendy's nirvana heart would attract would be one of the most frightening heavenly punishments recorded in ancient texts, a humanoid heavenly punishment. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record your reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 969. Heavenly Punishment in Human Form. This kind of heavenly punishment really exists. Qinggu Qiu, Kong Sungchun, and the others stared at the lightning war god with wide eyes, completely dumbfounded. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test Qinggu Qiu was of the opinion that few people were worthy of his attention. But he felt that whether it was talent or opportunity, he couldn't compare to Xiao Wendy. If he were to switch places with Xiao Wendy, he felt that he would definitely be struck to death by heavenly punishment in human form. How could it be this kind of heavenly punishment? Xiao Wendy's brows furrowed tightly together as she felt immense pressure. If she didn't die in heavenly punishment, then she would live forever in it. Soon, Xiao Wendy dispelled the trace of unease in her heart and controlled the star Tao diagram to attack the lightning war god. Rumble. The lightning war god's vortex-like eyes flashed with lightning as the two Tao diagrams approached. Countless bolts of lightning gathered in his right hand, forming a 10-meter-long lightning saber. He slashed through the air at the two Tao diagrams. Boom! Boundless heavenly lightning exploded, causing the earth to tremble and mountains to tremble. Lightning and Tao diagrams collided and surged in all directions like a tidal wave, destroying all things in its wake. Large swaths of wondrous rocks were annihilated, and ancient trees were pulverized. The entire mountain peak couldn't withstand the terrifying recoil and began to tremble violently. The terrifying might instilled fear in everyone's hearts, as if the end of the world had arrived. After the first strike, the lightning war god's arms flared with lightning as he slashed down with his lightning saber. This strike was even more powerful, and its terrifying power directly shattered the star Tao diagram and the life and death Tao diagram before attacking Xiao Wendy, who was sitting cross-legged on the mountain peak. Slaughtered doppelganger at this critical moment. A black figure broke out of Xiao Wendy's body like a streak of black light, colliding violently with a lightning saber in midair. Boom! The slaughtered doppelganger shattered the lightning saber, and he was also blasted down from the sky by the terrifying power of lightning. He smashed a hole in the mountain peak covered in cracks. At this moment, a dazzling golden three-legged bird appeared on Xiao Wendy's body. It flapped its golden wings and let out a long cry at the lightning war god. The three-legged golden crow. She actually had such an ancient spiritual beast. Looking at Xiao Wendy's spiritual beast, Qinggu Qiu, Kong Sungchun, and the others were moved. They had no doubt that if Xiao Wendy could survive the humanoid divine punishment and refine the nirvana heart to break through to the 6th grade combat beast emperor realm, her strength would rise to a level they could never hope to reach. He might even be able to fight against nirvana's experts. However, the heavenly punishment in human form was too frightening. Wanting to pass, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Seeing Xia Wendy fusing with the three-legged golden crow and her strength rising steadily, they couldn't help but sweat for her. When Xia Wendy merged with the three-legged golden raven, the lightning war god slashed out a second time. A terrifying lightning saber light tore through the void, bringing with it terrifying power as it slashed towards Xia Wendy. 9 swords of starlight. Xia Wendy exerted her Star Dao insight to the limit and transformed into 9 swords of starlight that carried an ear-piercing sound as they slashed towards the lightning saber. Rumble! A series of uncontrollable explosions rang out in the void. The 9 swords of starlight lasted for only 4 breaths before they were shattered by the lightning saber. The terrifying lightning power carried with it the power to destroy everything as it slashed towards Xia Wendy, wanting to cut her into pieces. At this time, Xia Wendy's Star Dao diagram and Life and Death Dao diagram formed in her palms to resist the saber. Under the amplification of her born Taoism aptitude, the power of the Star Dao diagram and Life and Death Dao diagram increased exponentially, dispersing the remaining power of the lightning saber. However, the lightning war god's attacks were too fierce. After the first saber strike, he slashed out 3 more times in a row, continuously slashing at the Star Dao diagram and Life and Death Dao diagram. He forcefully split the 2 Dao diagrams and sent Xia Wendy, who was under great pressure, into the mountain full of cracks. Star God Bloodline. On the brink of danger, Xia Wendy, who was continuously fusing with the Nirvana heart, finally activated the Star God Bloodline in her body. An ancient phantom with sparkling starlight emerged from her body and collided with the lightning saber. Boom! The ancient phantom collided with the lightning saber. The terrifying bloodline power broke the lightning saber and rushed toward the lightning war god. Starlight Battle Shadow. Did this little girl have the same Star God bloodline as Astral Emperor? Kong Sungxin and the others widened their eyes as they watched the ancient phantom fight with the lightning war god. They were very excited, and they didn't waste this rare opportunity. They released their powerful soul power and felt the changes of heavenly punishment in human form, deepening their understanding of the Tao. Perhaps she could really survive the heavenly punishment in human form. As antiques of the Xingluo continent, Kong Sungxin and the others knew how terrifying the Star God bloodline was. Xia Wendy had the same bloodline as Astral Emperor and the same talent. If she could survive this terrifying heavenly punishment, she would definitely become the second Astral Emperor. While the Starlight Battle Shadow and the Lightning War God were fighting, Xia Wendy ignored the endurance of her body and madly burned the Nirvana heart, increasing the power of the Star God bloodline while refining it. The ancient phantom and the lightning war god fought fiercely for half an hour. The terrifying lightning war god suddenly burst with power and shattered the ancient phantom with one strike. Then, the lightning saber fell from the sky with boundless destructive power, slashing towards Xia Wendy, whose expression changed slightly. Boom! The lightning saber slashed the Star Dao diagram that Xia Wendy was using all her strength to support. In an instant, the space around Xia Wendy fell into chaos. It was gray and hazy, making it impossible for people to see the scene of Xia Wendy's tribulation. The terrifying destructive power passed through the Dao diagram and crazily rushed into her body, tearing apart her clothes and body. Large amounts of blood spurted out, instantly dyeing her a bloody person. Her injuries continued to worsen, but it didn't slow down Xia Wendy's attacks. She continued to condense the 2 Dao diagrams and fiercely attacked the Lightning War God. The Starlight Battle Shadow, which had just been shattered by the Lightning War God, reappeared and fiercely fought the Lightning War God. With the Lightning War God close in, Xia Wendy's situation became even more dangerous. Although Xia Wendy tried her best to defend, she was still heavily injured by the Lightning War God. Her entire body became a bloody mess. If it wasn't for her Star God bloodline becoming stronger and stronger, allowing the Starlight Battle Shadow to block most of the lightning war god's attacks, and allowing the burning Nirvana heart to continuously repair her body, she would have already been killed by the lightning war god. Just as Xia Wendy's injuries became more and more serious and her attacks became slower, the lightning war god suddenly erupted with a shocking power. Rolling power fused into the lightning saber in his hand. The saber slashed apart the starlight battle shadow and continued to slash at Xiao Wendy. Facing the lightning war god's fatal saber, Xiao Wendy didn't dodge. Seeing her body being shattered by the lightning war god's saber, the Nirvana heart suddenly appeared in her body and blocked this fatal saber. Boom! The Nirvana heart was shattered by the lightning war god's full-strength saber. Energy erupted like a volcano, shattering the lightning saber and fiercely slamming into the lightning war god, sending him flying. Puff Xiao Wendy was also affected by the aftershocks, and her body was heavily injured. Seeing her body about to be destroyed, she quickly swallowed the life-spirit grass in her mouth. In the next moment, her bloody body began to recover at a visible speed. Her heavy injuries were also quickly healed. She endured the destructive power and fused the cracked Nirvana heart into her body. She once again ignited her star god bloodline and launched a desperate counterattack against the heavily injured lightning war god. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the save button below to record this reading. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 970. As expected, while Xiao Wendy's tribulations seemed dangerous, it was all part of her plan. Now that the Thunder War God had been injured by the power of the Nirvana heart, she should have a chance to defeat him and pass this humanoid tribulation that was almost impossible for humans to pass. Yi Chenfeng revealed a look of anticipation as he watched Xia Wendy counterattack the Thunder War God. Based on his understanding of Xia Wendy, she would definitely seize this opportunity to defeat the Thunder War God in one fell swoop. If she missed this opportunity, she would be in real danger. Nirvana Heart, merge. Xia Wendy merged the energy from the Nirvana Heart into her cells, breaking through the bottleneck of her cultivation level. Because the Nirvana Heart's energy was too terrifying, even Xia Wendy's born Taoism aptitude couldn't withstand it. Her lithe body kept expanding, showing signs of exploding. Born Taoism aptitude, suppress. Relying on her powerful born Taoism aptitude to suppress the Nirvana Heart's power, Xia Wendy formed the life and death doubt diagram in her right hand and the heaven and earth doubt diagram in her left. She continuously attacked the Thunder War God's body. Under the combination of the born Taoism aptitude and the Nirvana Heart, the two doubt diagram's destructive power reached the limit. They bombarded the Thunder War God's chest, causing cracks to appear. At this time, the Starlight War God appeared in Xia Wendy's body. He blasted out beams of starlight, attacking the Thunder War God's head, suppressing him and cracking his body bit by bit. Huh! A heaven-shaking roar rang out. The Thunder War God, whose body was covered in cracks from the continuous attacks, began to counterattack. He once again condensed a huge blade of lightning, and with the momentum of splitting the sky, he slashed towards Xiao Dai, wanting to split her body apart. At this critical moment, the slaughtered doppelganger appeared, using its own body to block the Thunder War God's fatal attack. Star Dao Diagram, Life and Death Dao Diagram, explode. The moment the Thunder War God sent the slaughtered doppelganger flying, Xia Wendy detonated the two Dao diagrams. The terrifying power of the will of the Great Path directly blew up one of the Thunder War God's arms, severely injuring his body. The Thunder War God's broken arm immediately turned into a large number of Dao tattoos, wildly pouring into Xia Wendy's body, imprinting themselves on her flesh. Life and Death Dao Diagram, Star Dao Diagram, explode. Next, Xia Wendy formed two Dao diagrams again and attacked the Lightning War God. Normally, Xia Wendy would never have been able to continuously condense two Dao diagrams to attack. But now, the crazily burning Nirvanic heart had replenished the energy she had consumed to condense the Tao diagrams. Under the frenzied attacks of her 2 Tao diagrams, the Thunder War God's offensive was finally suppressed. Xiao Wendy also saw a glimmer of hope in surviving the humanoid heavenly punishment. Something's wrong. Why do I feel like a mysterious energy is gathering in the sky under the cover of the tribulation clouds? Could it be that this humanoid heavenly punishment is not the limit of Xiao Dai's heavenly punishment, and there are even more terrifying heavenly punishments waiting for her? With the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Qinfeng sensed the abnormality in the rolling tribulation clouds that were like a long river. His brows were tightly knitted together, and his heart was in his throat again. And he wasn't mistaken. When Xiao Wendy fused with the Nirvanic heart and challenged the Thunder War God, a power that didn't belong to heavenly punishment had appeared in the rolling tribulation clouds. And this power came from the 3 intact celestial race ruins on the Xingluo continent. In one of the celestial race ruins, a blurry figure had appeared. However, under the cover of heavenly punishment, no one except Yi Qinfeng sensed it, including Xiao Wendy, who was undergoing her tribulation. 9 Starlight, Sword Starlight, palm-suppressing the Thunder War God with all her strength, Xiao Wendy gathered the nirvanic energy in her body in her fists, deducing the Tao intent to the extreme. She continuously used powerful Tao skills to bombard the Thunder War God, worsening his injuries. Under the all-out attacks of Xiao Wendy, the Starlight War God, and the Slaughter Doppelganger, the Thunder War God's left leg shattered, turning into a large amount of Tao patterns that merged into her flesh. After merging with a large amount of Tao intent, Xiao Wendy's bottleneck loosened, and she faintly touched upon the realm of a level 6 combat Beast Emperor. And the Nirvanic heart, which had released enough energy, also began to completely merge with her heart under the control of Xiao Wendy's will. After losing an arm and a leg, the Thunder War God's attacks were greatly reduced, and he was no longer a threat to Xiao Wendy. The Thunder War God's momentum was gone, and that little girl would soon be able to pass through this humanoid tribulation and break through to level 6 combat Beast Emperor. Although Kong Sungqin and the others looked down on Xiao Wendy's tribulation, they could feel the tribulation cloud's power begin to fade, and their nervous mood also relaxed. However, they didn't notice that Yi Qinfeng's brows were furrowed even tighter, as if he had a premonition. Star God strike blocking the Thunder War God's attack, Xiao Wendy forcibly used her bloodline ability, controlling the Starlight War God to launch a fatal attack. Wang the chaotic void trembled, and the Starlight War God turned into a beam of light, forcefully breaking through the lightning armor and piercing through the Thunder War God's body. In the next moment, the heavily injured Thunder War God exploded, turning into a sky full of Tao patterns. Like rivers flowing into the sea, they merged into Xiao Wendy's body. Under the large amount of Tao patterns, Xiao Wendy's body continuously transformed, and the Nirvanic heart also perfectly merged with her heart. Level 6 combat Beast Emperor breakthrough when the time was right. Xiao Wendy gathered all the soul power and Tao intent in her body and broke through the bottleneck, breaking through to level 6 combat Beast Emperor. However, the instant Xiao Wendy broke through, Yi Qinfeng's expression changed. Following that, Qinggu Qiu, Kong Sungqin, and the others' expressions also changed. This was because they saw a milky white hand descend from the tribulation cloud, carrying with it the power to destroy everything. It attacked Xiao Wendy, who had just broken through, wanting to destroy her. How could this be? Xiao Wendy had already passed through the heavenly tribulation, so why would this white hand appear? Xiao Wendy was in danger. Seeing the sudden descent of the white hand, Qinggu Qiu and the others' hearts rose to their throats. Star Tao diagram, life and death Tao diagram. Xiao Wendy, who had just broken through and repaired her body, was also stunned by this sudden scene. She quickly condensed 2 Tao diagrams to defend herself. However, this white hand was too terrifying. It easily destroyed the 2 Tao diagrams and attacked Xiao Wendy, whose expression changed greatly. Seeing that Xiao Wendy was about to be hit by the giant hand of destruction, Yi Qinfeng, who had long since sensed the abnormality, flew toward Xia, windy like a shooting star. Before the giant hand could land, he caught her in his arms. In the next moment, with a thought, Yi Chunfeng entered the universe realm with Xia Wendy in his arms. Boom! The instant the two entered the universe realm, the space where Xia Wendy was just a moment ago collapsed. The terrifying destructive hand directly smashed the space apart. The destructive hand's attack was extremely terrifying. Not to mention Xia Wendy, even a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert would not be able to block it. However, Universe Realm experts were too heaven-defying. They were not affected by the destructive hand's attack at all. However, under the destructive hand's attack, the space around them continued to collapse, as if the end of the world had arrived. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.